Yojin has been reborn back in time to 5 years ago. This time, she is determined to change her fate of dying at the hands of her scumbag husband. Because of this, she meets up with her brother-in-law secretly and makes him an offer he can't refuse. She has made up her mind to get her revenge against her ex-husband, even if it means getting married to his brother. On the day of her rebirth, Yojin is attending court sessions with her husband, Seo Ji-han. The two are about to get divorced. Although it was an arranged marriage, Yojin still feels sad about it. As she walks out of the courtroom, she stares at the man she was married to for 5 years. The man who destroyed her and took everything she had away from her. He deceived her into handing over her family's company, the W Group, and behind her back went ahead to sell the company. When she confronted Ji-han about it, he persuaded her to get a divorce, promising to give her some shares. Yojin thinks she should have known better. It was a political marriage, but she really fell in love with Ji-han. At the entrance of the courtroom, a pregnant woman runs up to Ji-han and clings to him. The two act intimate while Yojin watches. The lady complains about how long she was waiting. She sees Yojin and smugly greets her. She is Seo Ji-han's mistress, Chae Se-rin. But Yojin knows the girl won't be just a mistress anymore. Now that she is divorced from Ji-han and his mistress is pregnant, he will surely marry her. They prove her thoughts right as the cheating couple begin to talk about their baby and how soon they will get married. The mistress tries to provoke Yojin by telling her about their marriage plans. She even thanks Yojin for allowing her to meet Seo Ji-han and promises to live her life well. The two walk away, not caring about the heartbroken woman they leave behind. Yojin is angry as she wonders how the two can be so shameless. They even tell her to take care. She starts sobbing on the streets. Yojin is walking back home. She waits by the sidewalk. When the light turns green, she begins to cross the road. She is thinking of her marriage to Seo Ji-han. Throughout their marriage, all she did was wait for Ji-han back at home because he was the last family she had left. Suddenly, there is a loud noise that disturbs Yojin's thoughts. The loud sound shocks her. She looks in the direction of the noise and sees a large truck coming right at her. She is in fear when she notices this, but her fear turns to pain and anger when she sees the driver. That person is one of Ji-han's servants. The truck hits her, and as she lays dying, she wonders why Seo Ji-han had to go so far. She has no idea the cheating couple are at the scene, and Ji-han appears worried as he protects his mistress. The crowd gathers around as they try to help her. In the midst of this, Yojin lies in her blood as tears drop from her eyes, and all the sounds start to fade away. The next time Yojin opens her eyes, she is in a bridal room dressed in a white wedding gown with a photographer trying to get her pictures. She is confused as she wonders if she died or if she survived. The photographer interrupts her thinking, giving her directions on how to pose. Yojin is stunned and wonders what is happening now. She stands up suddenly and asks around for the date. The assistant assumes she is just a bit confused and tells her the date. She also mentions that it is Yojin's wedding day. Yojin is open-mouthed in shock because she can't believe it. This can't be possible since she got married 5 years ago. She runs out of the room, still in her wedding gown, ignoring the assistant's pleas to stop. Outside the hall, she stops to catch her breath. The elevator's door opens suddenly and a man steps out. Yojin stares in shock as Seo Ji-han walks up to her. He is dressed in a suit except there is a big lipstick mark on his collar. He asks why she is outside when she is supposed to be in the bride's dressing room. Yojin's focus is on the lipstick mark and she asks him where he went. He says he went to the car for a moment, but she points out the stain on his shirt. He lies and says he bumped into a woman in the elevator and therefore got stained. Yojin doesn't believe his lies. At that moment, someone steps out of the elevator. It is Chae Se-rin, Ji-han's mistress in her past life. Yojin stares at the red lipstick on the mistress's lips and then at the red stain on Ji-han's clothes. She seems to have discovered a huge secret. The mistress acts friendly with Yojin, praising her beauty. Yojin isn't happy but is heartbroken that the two have been together since the beginning. They even have the guts to do this at her wedding hall. Someone interrupts the awkward group. The two men are Ji-han's father and grandfather. They demand to know what is going on. Seo Ji-han apologizes and says he went outside, so Yojin must have been nervous and came to look for him. Yojin has made up her mind not to let him control her again, so she cuts him off and tells the elders something has come up. They are surprised and wonder what could be wrong. Seo Jin calls their names and informs them she will not be going through with this wedding. Everyone is in shock when they hear Yojin's statement. Seo Ji-han tries to question her, but our girl doesn't change her decision. She refuses to marry Ji-han. She runs away from them, leaving behind several surprised faces. Outside the hall, a crowd of reporters are waiting to see the newlywed couple. What they see instead is Yojin fleeing from her marriage. They are at first confused before they realize what is happening and quickly start to snap pictures. Yojin isn't concerned with this, as she still can't believe what is happening. She wonders if this is a dream. Did she really return to the day of her wedding? Her mind goes back to something that happened in her past life on this same day, and she panics. She is about to run off, but someone stops her. Seo Ji-han holds on to her, calling her disrespectful and demanding an explanation. He instead sees Yo-jin start crying loudly as she yells about visiting the hospital, leaving him confused. Yo-jin rushes to the hospital where she sees the legal advisor of her parents' company, Park Hyun-ik. He tells her he was just about to contact her and confirms her worst fears. Just like her past life, her grandfather has passed away. Yo-jin is in tears as she sees her father and mother on the hospital bed. She wonders why they couldn't be saved. The same thing happened on her wedding day in her past life. Her parents didn't contact her and were late for her wedding, so the ceremony was delayed for a long time. It was only later that she learned both her grandfather and parents had passed away. The same thing is happening in this life, and Yo-jin can't stop crying. It's a few days later and Yo-jin is dressed in mourning clothes. The news is filled with articles about her grandfather's death. The W Group is among the top 5 leading companies in the country. It was built by her grandfather, but now the public are wondering who the successor is going to be. They talk about the wedding and what will happen to the merger between the two families. Everything is the same as in Yo-jin's previous life. She remembers how alone she felt at this time, and that was when Seo Ji-han reached out to her and deceived her. He promised to take care of the company for her while she grieved. It is only now Yo-jin is realizing that everything was just a plan for Seo Ji-han. The merger of the W Group and Hojin Group only happened because Seo Ji-han, as the second son, wanted to use the power of the W Group to take over Hojin completely. Yo-jin mocks herself because Ji-han must have looked at her as a clueless fool. However, this time around things will be different. She won't let him take it away again. In her last life, he got everything he wanted from both W Group and Hojin Group. In this life, she will make sure nothing goes his way. At the funeral hall, Yo-jin is busy handling guests. Hyun-ik feels sorry and wants to take over, but she insists on doing it herself. He tells her the shareholders have been informed, but he doesn't know what might be planned. Yo-jin remembers her last shareholders in her past life. Those men didn't take her seriously because she was a woman, too young and untrained. Therefore, the merger was decided by Seo Ji-han. She won't let this happen in this life and asks her uncle to delay the shareholders while also investigating Seo Ji-han's life. Her uncle is surprised that she would want to investigate her husband. Yo-jin informs him she won't be marrying Ji-han and will be calling off the engagement. Still at the funeral room, Yo-jin is feeling unhappy. The reason is because her scumbag fiancé is beside her greeting the guests. He shares a good conversation with Kim Young-min, the vice chairman of W Group. The two claim to only have met a few times, but Yo-jin knows this is a lie. The vice chairman is already working for Seo Ji-han. In her past life, he helped Hojin merge with W Group. Yo-jin is disgusted when he keeps denying no Young-min and asks him for a chat outside. Outside, she tells Ji-han to leave, but he refuses to, and calls himself part of the family so he can't leave. Yo-jin reminds him they never had a wedding, so there is no way they would ever be a married couple. Seo Ji-han tries to manipulate her into thinking she is just being upset. He promises her grandfather and father are watching over her, so it wouldn't be okay for him to leave. He tells her they can hold the wedding another day, but she needs him right now. The formalities don't matter. Looking down at her, he promises to do better. As the two are talking, Seo Ji-han receives a call. When he sees the number calling him, he gets a weird look on his face. Yo-jin is watching him and wonders why he looks so anxious. She finally realizes when she sees his face that it should be a call from his mistress. That is why he doesn't want her to hear it. She is not surprised as he did the same thing during the funeral procession. He answered a call and left and only came back to the funeral hall way later. She tells him to answer the call, and while he speaks, she looks at him. She guesses that the caller should be Chae Se-rin, the mistress. The call ends and Yo-jin wants to know who was calling. Seo Ji-han lies to her, telling her it was a call from the company and something urgent came up. He promises to be back soon. Yo-jin is disappointed, but mostly at herself. In her past life, she believed this lie and thought he was worried about her. Meanwhile, he just didn't want to get caught cheating. As she walks away, she tells him not to come back. In her mind, she wants him to stay by Chae Se-rin's side forever. Seo Ji-han is unaware of her thoughts and keeps yelling about coming back and asking her to wait for him. His words just make Yo-jin laugh scornfully. Yo-jin is sitting before her grandfather's picture and apologizing. Even after returning and being reborn, she couldn't protect her family. She is now alone once again. Sitting by a corner, she cries herself to sleep. Unknown to her, someone approaches her at that moment. It seems to be a man, and he reaches out to touch her. Yo-jin is woken up by someone calling out to her. It is Hyun-ik who tells her to take a rest. As she stands up, she finds out something shocking. There is a man's suit over her body. She is surprised and asks Hyun-ik, who has no idea who it was. He thinks it might be her husband, but Yo-jin is sure it isn't. Jihan is somewhere cheating with Seo-rin right now, so it can't be him. Yo-jin is still puzzled about the jacket. It was the same in her previous life, and she never got to find out who the jacket belonged to. She touches something and pulls it out and is stunned. It is a passport with a name written on it. Seo Jae-ha from Hojin Group. Yo-jin is in great shock when she sees this name. Why is it Seo Jae-ha? Downstairs, a man is walking out of the building. It is very obvious that his suit jacket is missing. Of course it is because his jacket is with Yo-jin right now. Seo Jae-ha is about to open his car door when he realizes he left his passport inside the suit. Upstairs, Yo-jin wonders when Jae-ha came back to Korea. She remembers him being sent to the US on assignment. A part of her wonders if he feels bad for his former fiancé. That's right. Seo Jae-ha could have been her fiancé, the man she would get married to. He is the eldest son and heir of the Hojin Group, and she, the eldest daughter of the W Group. Their marriage was arranged when Yo-jin was born. At that time, Jae-ha was still the heir. Yo-jin never thought she would marry Seo Ji-han, but she did because Jae-ha didn't want to marry her. Despite his grandfather's threats of taking away the successor position if he didn't marry her, Seo Jae-ha still refused. He gave up his position as heir and left for the US. However, Yo-jin knows from the memories of her past life that Jae-ha would make a name for himself. He took control of H Media Holdings, which has the largest stake in KBC Broadcasting, and would grow the company into something so big and able to devour Hojin. Yo-jin wonders why she forgot about this man. Grabbing the passport, she hurries downstairs, ignoring the people calling out to her. Her only thought is to find Jae-ha. He might not have left yet and should still be around the hospital. After running around, she can't seem to find him and is disappointed. Just as she is wondering if he has left, she smells a familiar citrus scent. Turning around, she sees the man she has been looking for. Jae-ha walks up to her and greets her with a smile. "It's been a while, Yoon Yo-jin," he says. Our female lead stares in silence at the man in front of her. It is totally not because of how handsome he is, though. When she regains her ability to talk, she asks him when he returned to the country. He tells her he arrived yesterday. She wants to know why he would drop by without a word to her. Suddenly, he leans down to look at her at eye level. He explains he didn't want anyone knowing, and if not for him forgetting his passport, she also would have had no idea he came by. He takes the passport from her while Yo-jin struggles to breathe. When he notices how silent she is, he asks if she is all right. He sees how exhausted she looks. Those simple words of concern are too much for Yo-jin, and her face turns red. She hides her face from him so he won't see her crying. She doesn't want to cry and quickly controls herself. Jae-ha has received his passport and is about to leave. Before he goes, he reminds Yo-jin not to trust Ji-han too much. Yo-jin wasn't expecting to hear such words and was stunned. He doesn't say anything more, and instead calls her sister-in-law and bids his goodbye to her. Yo-jin is still standing in the large hall looking at him when she receives a text. It seems the shareholders can no longer control themselves, especially Vice President Young-min, who has started to make some moves. Yo-jin panics as she remembers this troublesome set of people. She has to stop them, but has no idea how. She turns towards her only source of help, the man who just walked away from her. She yells his name loudly. He hasn't gone too far and stops when he hears her voice. Yo-jin feels like this is an opportunity the heavens have given her. In her past life, she never met Jae-ha, but in this life she did. This could be her chance to change her fate. She invites him to a private meeting. It is evening and the funeral is over. Yo-jin and Hyun-ik are the only two left. He advises her to rest and she thanks him for his company. Just as the two are talking, a giant red flag comes running and shouting in their direction. Sorry, that is just Seo Ji-han, the cheating fiancé. He is back from his tryst with his mistress and keeps apologizing to Yo-jin for abandoning her. He even hugs her. Yo-jin isn't pleased, however, because all she can smell is Chae-serin's perfume on him. She pushes him away. She tells him everything is fine and starts to walk away. Hyun-ik stops her and reminds her of the shareholders' meeting. He wants her to make a decision because he thinks the shareholders want to manipulate her. Now that her parents are very sick, they plan to rush the meeting so they can control her at will. Hyun-ik is concerned for her. But he doesn't know the real danger is the man behind him. Seo Ji-han offers to go to the meeting in her place. He says she will soon become his wife and they are therefore one family. And so, the W Group issues are his concern. Yo-jin doesn't let him finish his rubbish and refuses. She informs Hyun-ik that she will be attending the meeting herself. The two men try to persuade her to change her mind, especially Ji-han. He even tells her she won't understand anything if she attends the meeting. The nerve of him. Thankfully, Yo-jin doesn't fall for his bullshit and instead glares at him. She reminds him she is the heir. Seeing that she isn't easily controlled, he starts to threaten her. He tells her those men have been in business for years while she is just a woman who knows nothing. If she is smart, she should know she has no other options besides him. Yo-jin smirks and says he is right. He does indeed deserve to be in the shareholders' meeting. SEO Jihan instantly changes from being mean to being sweet and loving. He praises her decision and even has the mind to ask her if she trusts him. Our female lead plays along and assures him she trusts him. It's another beautiful day, and our female lead thinks so too. She is out shopping with no idea her morning is about to be ruined. She is dressed fashionably and is ready to visit her favorite store. The manager welcomes her happily and asks why she is here. Of course, Yeojin can't say the reason she came here was because she went to her newlywed's house, and all the clothes Seo Jihan bought for her disgusted her, right? She just laughs awkwardly. The manager mentions something about an announcer. This is where we are introduced to Yeojin's former job as an anchor. This was the brand she used to wear during those days. She informs the manager she hasn't decided on anything yet. The manager is disappointed because she thought Yeojin was going back to work. She urges her to return to working so she can wear their brand clothes everywhere. The two women laugh and are having a fun time. That is until the manager informs her the KBC weathercaster is around. She thinks the two might know each other. Yeojin is a bit confused about who that could be. She steps into the dressing room and there is a woman seated there looking through a magazine. Yeojin's eyes widen in shock and anger as she recognizes the woman there. It is none other than the forever mistress, Chai Se-rin. The manager has no idea that this isn't a friendly reunion between two friends, but more of enemies meeting. She is telling Yeojin that Se-rin has been made an anchor. This is shocking news to Yeojin. She ignores the manager talking about their products in the background. Her mind is filled with thought because she knows how hard it is to level up in KBC, especially to go from a caster to an anchor. This can only happen if they have a string backing. At that thought, Yeojin feels some disgust, because she knows exactly who Se-rin's backing is. Our female lead isn't one to back down and approaches Se-rin. The mistress immediately acts familiar and hugs Yeojin happily. The manager is relieved that the two women do know each other. Yeojin says Se-rin is her close junior. As they talk, Yeojin spots a bank card on the table. Seeing Yeojin pick up the card, Se-rin immediately looks scared. Yeojin examines the card. It is a black card which only the department VIPs can use. She asks Se-rin how she got it, but the other lady can't answer. Yeojin turns the back and sees the name on the card. It is Seo Jihan's. Her fiancé has given his card to his mistress to use. Yeojin asks Se-rin why her fiancé's card is with her. She still can't answer. Yeojin isn't happy because this means that in her previous life, Seo Jihan also gave his mistress his card before their wedding. Of course, since our girl isn't happy, the mistress shouldn't be happy too. She puts on a show and starts acting sweetly, saying she told Jihan not to do such things. According to her, Seo Jihan asked if she needed anything, but since she refused, he went ahead to ask a junior for help. She looks at Se-rin as she asks if Jihan plans on gifting her clothes this time. The mistress's face is red as she looks super angry. Yeojin isn't concerned as she goes ahead to insult the dresses, saying she doesn't like such flashy patterns. She tells Se-rin she might have gotten confused and asks the manager to refund all the dresses already picked. Both the manager and Se-rin begin to panic, but there is nothing they can do. Yeojin wants to know if Se-rin is okay with her decision because she plans to pick her own clothes. Of course, Se-rin can't say anything because she is just a mistress, so she agrees with what Yeojin says. Our Yeojin is pleased with her little revenge, but she is still not done. She asks Se-rin about her position as an anchor. Se-rin panics, wondering how Yeojin knew about it. Our girl tells her there is nothing she doesn't know. She knows Se-rin is someone who doesn't even know what to say and what not to say. Such a person cannot become an anchor except she has a backer, and unfortunately for her, Seo Jihan just had to be her backer. Yeojin vows to take back that position. She promises to see Se-rin again, leaving the mistress scared. She quickly runs out of the room, leaving Yeojin to glare at her back. It's time for lunch, and our girl's day is about to become better because she is having lunch with someone special. It's Seo Jae-ha. He smiles as he welcomes her to their quiet and private meeting. Yeojin isn't here to joke around and directly asks Jae-ha if he plans to return to the US. He jokingly asks if she would go back with him. His jokes leave her stunned. He stops joking and becomes serious as he tells her he is not her husband. He wants to know why they are having this meeting. Why does his soon-to-be sister-in-law want to see him privately? Yeojin isn't as calm as she looks. Inside, she is trying her best not to stammer. She tells him she didn't come here as his sister-in-law, but as the daughter of the W group. Yeojin remembers that in her previous life, just the night before her divorce with Seo Jihan, she received a phone call from Seo Jae-ha. He asked to meet up after the divorce trial. Yeojin is sure it must have been something important. However, this time around, she has decided to act first. Just as she needs him now, Jae-ha will need her in the future. She is sure he won't be able to refuse her proposal. Yeojin asks him to marry her. However, she knows he doesn't like marriage. For her, this is a gamble, but she has already lost everything in her past life, including her life. So taking this level of risk is worth it. She lets Jae-ha know she needs him urgently. She needs someone who can manage her family company and is ready to make him the CEO of the company. The words seem to repeat in Seo Jae-ha's head as he stares at Yeojin in surprise. Back at the private meeting between our two leads, Jae-ha, after hearing the words Yo-jin says to him, starts laughing. She is surprised by his reaction, so he asks her if she really thought he would accept her offer. He is the eldest son of the Ho-jin family. Yo-jin isn't discouraged and calmly tells him he will accept her offer. He wants to know why she thinks like that. Yo-jin reveals what he thought was a well-kept secret, that he is the CEO of the KBC Broadcasting Company. Everyone thinks that the eldest son of the Ho-jin was removed of his heir title and sent to the US on exile. This isn't true, however. Jae-ha demands to know how she got this information. She tells him Ho-jin Group is the largest shareholder of KBC. His grandfather, Chairman Seo Mujin, wouldn't strip his eldest grandson from his position of heir without any reason. In her previous life, Seo Jae-ha became independent from Ho-jin. He reorganized the holding company he is currently managing into H Media Holdings and returned to the country in triumph because his company was listed. The only people aware of this secret are his grandfather, the chairman, and a few close associates in the head office. However, due to her rebirth, Yo-jin is now one of the people to know. She promises to give him bigger wings than Ho-jin ever did. She even plans to invest in all his projects. Most importantly, she knows he has a desire to destroy Ho-jin. She never knew in the past, but now due to her rebirth, she can tell that Jae-ha has a twisted hatred for the Ho-jin Group. He plans to swallow the company. Yo-jin tells him she can make his plans quicker and stretches her hand for a handshake. In her mind, she is begging for him to agree and take her hand. Jae-ha has arrived home and is taking off his clothes. Not really, he is just pulling his tie and taking off his jacket. He drops the file he is holding on the table and falls on the sofa. His mind is filled with Yo-jin and her proposal for marriage. He smiles as he remembers this. He always thought she was just a delicately raised flower, but it seems she also has her thorns. He picks up the envelope, which is filled with pictures of Seo Ji-han and his mistress. He recalls Yo-jin's reaction when she saw these pictures. She calmly told him she is aware her fiancé is having an affair. He calls his secretary. Secretary Han wants to know if he negotiated with Yo-jin, but he tells him she already knew about Ji-han having an affair. Secretary Han doesn't believe it and wonders how she knew. Jae-ha says he is wondering the same thing so much that it is driving him crazy. He asks his secretary to find out if there is any news about him being the head of the KBC Holdings leaking outside. The next day, we see our female lead dressed in a stylish suit and walking into a company. For her, it has been 4 years since she entered this place. After marrying Ji-han, she quit her job as an announcer after taking a 4-year leave. She lost all motivation after losing her family. However, now it is different. She enters the director's office, and the two greet each other with huge smiles on their faces. The director is happy to see her, and a bit stressed that she came all the way here. Yo-jin tells him not to worry about it, as she feels it is nice being able to come back here once again. The director jokingly says his wife keeps complaining about not seeing her. After the jokes, the two get serious. Yo-jin tells him the purpose of her visit. She wants to work again. The director tells her they need a reporter for a newly reorganized program and thinks it would suit her image. Seeing that she doesn't respond, he asks her if she really thinks she could get her news anchor position back. When she agrees, he tells her there is no vacancy for announcers. Yo-jin isn't fooled and tells him she knows announcer Jong is retiring soon. The director is shocked that she knows this, but tells her the position is unavailable. Yo-jin knows this means there is already a designated successor. She wonders if it is Chae Se-rin. Seeing how uncomfortable the director is, she can tell that it is a decision made by the higher-ups. If she wants to get reinstated as an anchor, she will need a powerful supporter. Someone whose influence will match Seo Ji-han's. And she already knows who that person will be. Just as she is thinking, the door opens and someone walks it. It is the red flag cheating fiancé, Seo Ji-han. He greets the director with a smile while Yo-jin looks confused, wondering why he is here. Looking at her fiancé, Yo-jin wonders if he came all the way here because of his mistress, Chae Se-rin. In her heart, she labels him a crazy guy. Ji-han is telling the director he was just passing by and decided to stop for a moment. So believable. He says he had no idea Yo-jin was here. Turning to her, he demands to know why she's here, and she asks him the same question. He doesn't reply because his attention is stolen by some files he sees on the table. He picks it up and wants to know what it is. The director says they are talents from the programming department. It just so happens that Chae Se-rin's file is among these. The director asks if Seo Ji-han is familiar with Se-rin, as Yo-jin and Se-rin are close. It seems the director doesn't know that Se-rin is the nominee they have chosen. Ji-han doesn't hesitate to praise his mistress and doesn't even care that his fiancé is sitting right there. Yo-jin can see how excited he is about Se-rin, and she wonders how much more he plans to humiliate her by coming here and doing this. The director informs Ji-han of Yo-jin's plan to resume work. He isn't pleased and says she is going to be his wife, so she can't be an anchor. He pretends to be doing this for her good and tells the director being an anchor might look good, but there are many negative comments. It is a position with a lot of rumors and troubles. The director rushes to agree with him. Ji-han holds Yo-jin as he says he doesn't want her to do such a hard job and wants her to just stay under his shadow for a long time. The director praises him for being a good husband and he laughs. He says Yo-jin tends to overdo her work since she has so much passion for it. The director agrees with him, but Jihan isn't letting her work. He says what is impossible is impossible. He tells the director to stop her if she tries to overdo it in the future. The director is nervous but has no choice but to agree with his boss. Yeojin angrily walks out of the building. Behind her, Seo Jihan asks if she has something to say to him, but she says no. He suddenly drags her back and tells her she should have something to say. She tells him they should talk inside as people are watching. Inside the car, he questions her about her decision to return to work. She says she wants to, and he asks why, since she already quit. Yeojin recalls that she only quit because both families wanted her to focus on supporting him, and so she decided to take an early leave. She mocks herself for being so foolish. She answers Jihan and tells him she changed her mind. He starts yelling at her, asking why she didn't inform him first, and also why would she decide to attend the shareholders meeting. He says she has been acting strange, like a different person all of a sudden. She cuts him off and tells him she will handle herself tomorrow. He tells her this isn't possible, as she is now the face of Hojin. Her phone rings. It is lawyer Park Hyun-ik, but she refuses to answer because Jihan is there. He accuses her of being in frequent contact with Hyun-ik lately. She reminds him that he is the legal advisor of W Group. She wants to know if he is done so she can leave. He tells her to wait and grabs her hand, slipping a ring onto her fingers. He tells her most brides get anxious before the wedding, and considering what she has been through, she must be more anxious. He kisses her hands as he says he is just worried she would get hurt. Pulling her closer, he tells her she doesn't have to do anything and she should just lean on him and rest. Back at her apartment, Yeojin is staring at the ring on her finger. She can't help but admit that Jihan is really sweet and wonders if that was why she was deceived in her past life. All his words were meant to just bring her down and take everything away from her. And yet, she was foolishly comforted. This time, she wouldn't let things go the way he wants. With that, she takes off the ring and sends a message to Seo Jae-ha asking them to meet. He replies immediately, asking if it is now, and she answers yes. She wants them to meet today. Our two leads are meeting for dinner at a restaurant. The waiter offers to pour a drink for Seo Jae-ha, but he refuses. Yeojin is curious as to why he doesn't want to drink, and he tells her he needs to be able to watch over her since it is night. He can't leave her alone. Yeojin blushes a little from his words. After they are served, she tells him she had already started drinking alone. She talks to him about her day and about not getting the position she wanted to get back. According to them, the position is already decided. Jae-ha asks if she is trying to get reinstated. She is surprised by how he knew. She sees his face change and looks back to see Seo Jihan and his mistress in the same restaurant. The two are holding hands boldly. Serin is almost about to melt into Jihan, but he notices Yeojin and quickly pushes her away. Seeing the two of them together, Yeojin wants to see what Jihan would do, even if it is an excuse or an explanation. She asks him why the two of them are here together, and he says they came to talk over a drink. He tries to change the topic and asks why she is here with his brother, and she simply says they are here for the same reason. She didn't know about their affair in her past life, but in this life, she's not going to ignore it. Since the two couples' reserved seats are close to each other, they decide to sit together for a meal. And so Yeojin and Jae-ha sit on one side while Jihan and his mistress sit at the other end. Yeojin sees the dress Serin is wearing is the same dress she returned to the shop, and she calls her out on it. Jihan doesn't understand and wants to know what they are talking about. She tells him he must owe Serin a lot considering he gave her his card. He laughs and says it is a misunderstanding. He gave Serin the card so she could buy a gift for Yeojin, and because he was grateful, also get something for herself. He says because Serin worked so hard for the gift, he decided to meet up and thank her. Yeojin smiles and tells them she is looking forward to seeing what gift her fiancé and close junior would get for her. She informs them that she plans to return to broadcasting. Jihan immediately gets angry and asks if that wasn't already settled. She tells him she spoke to the director's wife who would help her out. She plans to create an opportunity to return as the anchor of the news at 9. Jihan angrily calls her name. The mistress stands up and says she wants to use the bathroom. As she walks over, she deliberately uses her hand to knock down the glass of wine in front of Yeojin, spilling it in her dress. She tries to act sorry, but we can tell it was done on purpose. Inside the restroom, Yeojin is trying to get the stain off, but it is impossible. The door opens then, and Serin walks in smugly. She mocks Yeojin for her image being shattered. Glaring at her, Yeojin asks if it was on purpose. Serin laughs and says even if she denies it, Yeojin wouldn't believe her. However, her main goal is to tell Yeojin to stay away from broadcasting. The next anchor has already been decided, and that is her. There are no more open spots. Yeojin looks at the disgusting pretender. She has a strong backing, which is Hojin Group, however, Yeojin wouldn't just give up. She tells Serin a candidate is still going to be a candidate. She believes that even if Serin is Jihan's beloved girlfriend, he still has to follow the decision of his fiancé. Serin laughs and says she shouldn't waste her efforts. Yeojin tells her there is nothing like wasted efforts for a simple reinstatement. Walking out of the restroom, Yeojin is uncomfortable with everyone staring at her. She feels self-conscious and plans to leave. Suddenly, Jae-ha gets up with his jacket in hand. He helps her cover up and asks her to wait in his room. His words leave her confused as she wonders what he wants to do. Seeing the nervous look on her face, Jae-ha is aware she has misunderstood. He explains that he wants to get her some news clothes so she shouldn't overthink. He just happens to be staying in this same hotel. He asks if she is all right with it. Yeojin is impressed with how clever Jae-ha is. With that, the two walk away, ignoring the angry Jihan who stands up like he is about to do something. Once they get somewhere private, Yeojin wants him to let go of her so she can leave. He tells her to stop talking and stay still. He asks her if she knows how she looks right now. He points out a man sitting in the lobby with a tablet. Turns out the man is a well-known journalist in reporting business scandals. He warns Yeojin to listen to him if she doesn't want her revenge to end today. He hands her his room card as he promises to give her his answer to the proposal she made to him previously. He tells her if she is bothered, she should at least wear his clothes. While she is upstairs, Seo Jae-ha goes out to see the cheating couple leaving in their car. He goes back up, and when he opens the door, he sees the most beautiful sight. Yeojin is walking around in his shirt. The two of them stand in shocked silence for a minute before Yeojin starts feeling embarrassed. Her face is red when Jae-ha tells her he didn't expect to be welcomed like this. She tries to explain that she sent her blouse for dry cleaning. The front desk offered to do it, and since he said she could borrow his clothes, she decided to take a shirt. Looking at the woman that keeps moving backwards like a snail, he tells her she is only making it more visible. He assures her his assistant would bring over some clothes for her so she can take off his shirt. He also warns her to stay here for now since Seo Jihan is still waiting outside. He must be insanely curious about what they are doing. Jae-ha naughtily suggests they should leave something for the poor man's imagination. Our two leads are having a peaceful time. Well, only Jae-ha is. While he is reading his book, Yeojin is having a mental breakdown. Her mind is still stuck on the time when he walked in on her wearing his shirt. Grabbing her hair and shaking her head, she is so embarrassed. However, apart from changing clothes, she also came here to hear his answer to her proposal. Looking at the man peacefully reading his book, she makes up her mind to find someone else if he doesn't agree. He suddenly asks if she is serious, which leaves Yeojin a bit confused. He wants to know if she really wants revenge, which she says she does. He tells her he will take the position of CEO of the W Group. He still doesn't fully trust her, but her offer is too tempting to refuse. He reminds her she promised to make his plan happen quicker, and she repeats that promise. She is confident she can help him speed up his plan. He asks her to keep her promise to bring down the Hojin Group. Yeojin is happy to do so. A revenge against Hojin Group is also her revenge. Outside the hotel, Yeojin thanks Jae-ha once again. She watches him leave and is about to head home when a raging bull grabs her hand. Oh, it's Seo Jihan, and he is demanding to know what she is doing with his brother so late at night. Yeojin pushes him away and tells him she should be the one angry and he has no right to act like this. He saw everything. The reason why she went to Jae-ha's room was because Seren spilled wine on her. She changes the topic back to him and wants to know, because anyone would think he is Seren's fiancé and not hers. Jihan feels a bit guilty and yells about how weird it is. He wants them to find somewhere private to talk about it. Yeojin refuses and wants to discuss it right there. She is too tired and doesn't want to go home and argue with him again. Jihan complains about how she has changed in an instant. He doesn't like that she has become fierce and stubborn suddenly. She has even started to raise her voice at him. Yeojin can't deal with his childishness and sighs. He tells her not to let today repeat itself and to stop hanging out with his brother. Yeojin demands to know if he is investigating her, and he retorts that she has met up with his brother before. He doesn't know what his brother has been telling her, but warns her. Jae-ha is just like a fleeting cloud. Yeojin finds it funny because he thinks she changed because of Jae-ha, but meanwhile she changed because she died and came back to life again. He hands her an envelope. When she demands to know what it is, he tells her it is a marriage registration form. He starts to threaten her, telling her situation isn't good, and she is already 29. She isn't young anymore and should know that as the sole heir of a group without a proper successor, none of the shareholders will listen to her. She might have received a considerable amount of shares, but the only way out of it is to marry him so she can secure her situation. He tells her to stop thinking foolishly and to sign the marriage consent form. Looking at him, Yeojin can't help but feel sorry for her past self. She was so foolish that in her past life, she might have caved and signed under pressure because being alone was unbearably lonely. She would have run straight into Seo Jihan's arms. But now she isn't the young Yoon Yeojin anymore. She stares at him and asks if he is trying to threaten her. He fakes an apology and says it wasn't a threat but pure concern for his fiancée. He tells her if they get married, all her problems will be solved. Both the succession issue, the shareholders' meeting, she can leave it all to him. Looking at the proud man in front of her, Yeojin stuffs the paper into her bag. She agrees with him that marriage is the surest way. She tells him she also wants her husband to be the one to manage her company. Once he has gotten the answer he wants, he lets her go and tells her she made the right decision. Yeojin glares at him as he happily leaves her presence. Back at her apartment, she stares at the marriage registration form in front of her. Her phone rings, and it is messages from her investigator. There are loads of pictures showing Seo Ji-han and his mistress having an affair out in public. It is that same day. She smiles sadly because it seems the marriage is not going to be between them but him and his mistress. The next morning, Yeo Jin is back at her broadcasting company. She goes to greet the director who welcomes her back on her reinstatement. The two sit down to have a conversation. He offers her a document. Yeo Jin goes through the document and is surprised to see it as an audition for the anchor position. The director explains that normally there would be a screening process through which the anchor position would be selected, but this time around an unofficial interview was planned. Yeo Jin is upset as she knows this was for Chaserin. The director has good news to give her, however, as he tells her the interview has been changed back to a public audition like before, so he recommended her. The director wants to know if his help was sufficient. Yeo Jin thanks him and assures him his help was sufficient. She is curious to know why the audition was changed back to public, though. The director says it is because the anchor is the face of the news and people would complain if they didn't do it. Yeo Jin doesn't believe this excuse as she knows that the higher-ups must have a good reason for changing their decisions. The director praises her for being sharp as always. She wants him to tell her, but he tells her not to worry and promises her she will find out later. The two have arrived at their destination. He asks her if she feels different coming back here after a year and congratulates her. The two enter into the room and the director introduces her to the team as the newest addition. She is returning to the radio news team. All the team members know her and everyone is happy to see her. They all welcome her happily. Some people, though, are talking about Serin and Yeo Jin being close. They wonder where Serin is, and she appears at that moment. Everyone is happy to see the two reunite. Yeo Jin greets Serin happily, but the other woman isn't happy to see her. Yeo Jin teases her, reminding her about her promise to see her soon. Over the radio, a voice is reading the weather report. Seo Jae-ha is in his car listening to it, and he can tell at once that it is Yeo Jin. Inside the studio, her friends are concerned about her being on the radio team and ask why she isn't on the TV programs. Yeo Jin tells them it is the same for her, and she finds both just as fulfilling. Her colleagues think it is a waste, though. Yeo Jin is done with work for the day and is thinking about visiting her parents in the hospital. On her way out of the office, she is stopped by someone. Serin isn't pleased to see Yeo Jin and mockingly congratulates her on her reinstatement. She mocks her for coming in as part of the radio team instead of as a news anchor. She asks Yeo Jin why she didn't tell her and suggests she could have helped. She pretends to be impressed with Yeo Jin's background, though. At least she got reinstated after being gone for a long time. Serin doesn't get the reaction she was expecting as Yeo Jin just laughs. She demands to know what is funny, but our female lead just tells her to go prepare for her evening broadcast. It should be the perfect time for her to be writing her script. Just in time, Chairman Seo Mujin calls. Yeo Jin takes the call and starts chatting with the old man. He is deeply worried about her and how she is holding up. She assures him she is fine. He congratulates her for being reinstated and has no problem with this. When Serin hears this, she begins to feel afraid. Yeo Jin promises to come visit the old man and ends the call. She teasingly apologizes to Serin, telling her she got a call from her in-laws. She rubs it in Serin's face that the old man called to check on her and invited her for a meal. Staring at Serin, she tells her she didn't even think to use her background. She wonders what would happen if she should call the chairman and ask him for a favor. She walks away, leaving the angry and frightened Serin behind. Outside, Yeo Jin wonders what is wrong with Serin. Why did she provoke her if she can't handle it? As she steps out, she finds a handsome man waiting for her. Seo Jae-ha stops her and wants to know if she is leaving work already. He has been waiting and wants to invite her for a meal. Yeo Jin is a bit reluctant as she already has somewhere she wants to go to. Jae-ha is disappointed and wonders if she has an engagement. She tells him it's not an appointment, but instead, she is going to visit her parents in the hospital. She has no idea that Serin is upstairs watching the two of them and glaring at them maliciously. Yoon Yeo Jin is at the hospital with the doctor in charge of her parents. He has no good news for her and informs her there have not been any improvements. They still have not regained consciousness. Yeo Jin is worried and wants to know if there is no way to help them. The doctor tells her they have already done the best they could, so she should prepare herself mentally. On the drive home, Seo Jae-ha notices how heartbroken she is. He drops her off at home and wants to know if she will be fine. She thanks him and promises him she is okay. She teases him, wondering if that was the reason why he came today. He says he will tell her later, but she wants to know what is going on now. In his mind, he complains about how stubborn she is. Outside, he says he has something to ask her. His question is if she knows in tech. When she hears this, Yeo Jin starts panicking. She wants to know if it is the construction company he is talking about, and he says yes. He wanted to ask because he thought she might know it, and indeed she does. Yeo Jin starts trembling, and she scolds herself for forgetting something so important. In her past life, Ji-han recklessly invested in this construction machinery abroad in order to secure his position as heir. He made $1 trillion investment into the company, but unfortunately, after a brief period of success, the company became a failure. The terrible financial structure eventually brought the whole Hojin group down. Yeojin doesn't want him to know she is aware of this, and so bids Jae-ha goodbye and promises to contact him later. He watches her leave with a contemplating look. At the Hojin group, Seo Jihan is having a meeting with his father and vice chairman of Hojin, Seo Min-guk. His father wants to know if Jihan has met with Young Min. He says he has, and they have made a plan in which after 3 years they will merge with the W group. Min-guk is not satisfied and asks why they can't merge now. He doesn't want to wait. Jihan tells his father it isn't that simple as there are shareholders on Chairman Yoon's side who oppose it. To also make it legitimate, Kim Young-min also needs 3 years on his side. He instead promises to give them an advance on the capital. The three have made their plan and want to transfer Yeojin's shares to Jihan immediately after the marriage. They plan to invest in Intech with W Group capital. Min-guk is happy with this plan and wants to know when the shareholders' meeting will be. Yeojin is still feeling restless after hearing about Intech from Seo Jae-ha. Intech is the key. In her past life after Seo Jihan invested in the company, it almost toppled the whole Hojin group. In this life, if Jihan can still acquire the Intech company, the whole Hojin group will surely collapse, depending on how they play it. Now that she knows about it, the trigger could be pulled even faster. Yeojin is happy because it seems like she has finally grasped the clue to this revenge. Her thoughts are interrupted by someone asking her if she is going to apply for something. She is a bit confused by this question, and they tell her there is an announcement on the bulletin board. She is still confused, so her senior explains to her that it is an audition to select the main anchor for the 9 o'clock news. Yeojin finally knows why there was a commotion and says she hasn't seen it. On the other side, Siren's friends are asking her if she is going to apply. She says she is going to give it a try since it is such a good opportunity. Yoon Yeojin is having a little mental breakdown as she is still being nagged by her senior. He wants her to give it a try and apply. He tells her he is most comfortable working with her, and even praises himself as a senior in the sky who she should want to work with. Yeojin hurriedly assures him she was going to apply even if he didn't say anything. The senior is proud of her. Siren and her friends, however, are not, and glare at Yeojin angrily. Siren walks over to Yeojin as she asks if she really wants to apply for the audition. Yeojin says she does and wants to know what the problem is. She is sure the girls have been talking behind her back. Siren tells Yeojin she has been gone for so long. It hasn't been long since she returned to the radio department, so how can she participate in such an audition? Our female lead points out that it says any announcer can participate and asks the girls if they did not notice it. She laughs and tells Siren it would be nice for the two of them to work together on the news again. Siren isn't happy and walks off angrily, but Yeojin can't be bothered with her because her senior just informs her the news schedule has changed. He wants to know if she has a day off the next day, and she says yes. He finds it strange because she usually doesn't take time off when there's a broadcast. She solemnly tells him she has a personal matter to take care of. At night, Yeojin is at her apartment. She's on the phone with Jae-ha, and the two are discussing. They are planning their next steps. He has sent her some files which she has downloaded. He begins to explain what is written in it in a way that Yeojin can understand. Just as he is about to explain the reason why Jihan wants to invest in Intech, there is a loud knock on her door. Yeojin tells him to hold on as she goes to answer the door. Through the intercom, she sees a figure she has no interest in seeing. Seo Jihan is standing outside her door. Yeojin has just heard a loud knock on her door. She checks the intercom and sees it is Seo Jihan. She opens the door to see him standing outside with some strange men. They are all carrying large boxes. Surprised at the scene, she asks him what he is doing here. She is not pleased he showed up unannounced. He doesn't answer her but brings the men inside and they start running around. He tells Yeojin he has come to move his things over. It is time for them to start living together. Our heroine doesn't seem to be happy to hear this. She looks even more angry when she remembers he came over in the middle of the night without informing her first. He is unrepentant and asks if she likes the place. He keeps talking about the house and says likes what he sees. Of course he would, Yeojin thinks. She put all her time into decorating the house, but he never bothered to come once. He must have been busy playing house with Chae Serin. She coldly tells him he asks too many questions. He informs her they would start living together from next week once the shareholders' meeting is over. This makes Yeojin really surprised. It seems he really is serious about moving in. He even brought all his stuff. After moving his things over, Jihan isn't ready to leave. He didn't come there only to move his things over. He first apologizes to Yeojin for disturbing her, then questions her about the rumors of her meeting with his brother again. He was told that they left together. Yeojin asks how he knows, and he says there are a lot of people watching her. Yeojin is sure it is Chae Serin that told him. Jihan calls her desperate for trying to hold on to her job. He is not happy she got reinstated, but there is nothing he can do. He then orders her not to keep any secrets for him from now on. Of course, our female lead is not having that. She has to make this scum fiancé feel guilty, and so she starts acting sad. She reminds Jihan her parents are still in the hospital. Yesterday, their coma got even worse overnight. Because it was her first day at work, she was too tired to go to the hospital. It was Jae-ha who gave her a ride and took her there. She then accuses Jihan of being unconcerned. The first thing he can do when he finally comes home is not to care for her, but to question her. Seeing her crying so bad, Jihan is in a panic. He keeps apologizing and assures her he didn't come to fight with her. He says he cares, but his next question is to ask if she has filled out the marriage registration form. When she tells him no, he admits he expected it. Now isn't a good time to talk about it, he says, but still he goes on and tries to persuade her to sign it. He says they can't stay engaged forever as people are watching. He has even decided on when they should hold their wedding, and so tells Yeojin all she needs to do is sign. He threatens her with her parents, reminding her anything could happen to them. If she marries him now, he would be her only family then. Yeojin knows it isn't her he wants. It is her parents' company. And at the end of it all, he is still going to kill her just like he did in her past life. She still has to put on an act though and thanks him for being with her. She hugs him and complains about how scared she is of tomorrow. He promises to come pick her up so they can attend the shareholders meeting together, and she agrees. But can you expect much from someone like Jihan? The next day, the first thing he does is send a message to cancel their appointment. He will see her at the meeting. Yeojin isn't surprised. Instead, she replies to Seo Jae-ha's message wishing her good luck. It is finally time for her to do this. At the scene of the W Group's emergency shareholders meeting, Seo Jihan is there along with his father. Our heroine climbs the stage and introduces herself with a bow. The meeting has officially started. She addresses the crowd and tells them she knows they have many doubts and questions for her. Just like they thought, she is indeed the largest shareholder of the group. She knows there are rumors saying she can't manage the group because she is just a news anchor and has no business experience. She announces then that the W Group will be managed by a professional business executive and she will not be involved in it. When everyone hears this, they start talking. They are so sure the executive must be Seo Jihan, her future husband. Everyone already expects the two groups to merge. They take the chance to ridicule Yeojin for just being a news anchor. Seo Jihan is feeling pleased. It seems everything is going according to his plan. On stage, Yeojin is ready to introduce the new executive. He is someone they are all familiar with and is from the Hojin Group. Jihan foolishly stands up. Just before he can step forward, the door to the meeting room suddenly opens. A man appears just as Yeojin is talking. It is Seo Jae-ha. Jihan is annoyed to see his brother here and glares at him. Before he can do anything, Yeojin announces the name of the new executive, Seo Jae-ha. While our two main leads share a smile, the whole place goes silent. Everyone is in shock. Jae-ha goes forward and introduces himself. Yeojin isn't done with her announcement as she uses this opportunity to reveal one more shocking news. As a major shareholder of W Group, she is officially calling off her engagement with Seo Jihan. Jihan cannot believe it. He gets up and yells at Yeojin. He is angry and trembling, but Yeojin doesn't stop. From now on, she says the W Group will have nothing to do with the Hojin Group. No investment, no mergers, nothing. She tells the shareholders to see her vision and cast their votes wisely. Yeojin's decision makes some people very angry, like Seo Jihan. However, it also makes some others like Seo Jae-ha happy. He can't stop staring at Yeojin with a smile on his face. It is time to go home. Yeojin is outside the building when someone comes to meet her, yelling at her for what she did. She ignores him and waits for Jae-ha so they can leave together. The yelling man can only watch as the two walk away. He can't stand it, so he comes over to separate them. It seems Yeojin didn't even notice him before, as she is surprised to see it is Seo Jihan. Jihan roughly grabs her hand, but our male lead immediately protects his lady and pushes Jihan away. With no choice, her ex-fiancé begs for a chance to speak to her. Jae-ha doesn't agree and tells him to leave. Of course, Jihan doesn't. He questions Yeojin about what she just did back at the meeting. He also yells at Seo Jae-ha to stay out of their business. Yeojin knows Jae-ha is protecting her. She assures him she is fine and wants to speak to Jihan for a while. Once he leaves, she coldly tells Jihan to say what he wants. He isn't happy to do it in public, but can't hold it in any longer. He asks Yeojin if she really knows what she just did. What makes him the most angry is her choosing his brother. He maliciously asks if she wants to start sleeping around with his brother after she abandoned him. Before he can continue his rubbish talk, our heroine reminds him of what he did. Did he really think she wouldn't find out about him and Chae Si-rin? Did he think she wouldn't notice? She throws a bunch of his pictures with his mistress at his scumbag face. She lets him know she wasn't born yesterday and has been aware. The two have been together even before their wedding and up till now. She yells at him for living a double life. Jihan's response? He can't defend himself and says he was just distracted before the wedding. He wasn't planning to start something serious with Chae Si-rin. They only met a few times. He becomes mean and asks Yeojin what she can accomplish on her own. Is she planning to survive off her measly TV gigs, or is she planning to become a leech and stick to his brother? Yeojin coldly tells him he is also the same. Nothing he has is truly his own. She reminds him that without W Group backing, he wouldn't even be able to keep his title of heir. She tells him he can never find another woman like her to replace her position in his life. However, she can easily find someone else to replace his position in her life. She leaves Jihan while he starts begging miserably behind her. He calls Chae Si-rin a mistake and tells Yeojin they shouldn't break up because of this. He keeps begging her to turn a blind eye and forgive him. Our heroine doesn't care and never turns back. Instead, she gets into Seo Jae-ha's car. Now it is Seo Jae-ha's turn to avenge his lady. He steps down and tells his brother to stop being pathetic. Jihan insists she is his fiancée and questions his brother on why he is doing this. Jae-ha kindly reminds him Yeojin just called off their engagement. Besides, even if she was his fiancée, it doesn't give Jihan the right to act like this. Jihan doesn't want to give up and keeps yelling for Yeojin to come down. He says he never agreed to their breakup. Jae-ha is surprised by his brother's determination and even applauds him. However, he tells Jihan to save his words for his lawyer. He drives away, leaving a frustrated and yelling Jihan behind. Yeojin has brought Jae-ha to her home. He is surprised to see all these boxes outside, and she informs him they are for Jihan. Our male lead is clearly not happy, especially when he sees her wedding picture with his younger brother. Yeojin offers to cook for him, but he teasingly asks her if she has anything. She is upset and reminds him this is a home where people live. However, she proves him right, because when she opens the fridge, all we see is bottles and bottles of drinks. Jae-ha comes to stand behind her, startling her a little. He points out the fridge is full of drinks, and Yeojin weakly replies that it is not completely empty. At least she still has a packet of instant noodles and eggs. Well, you tried, girl. Our two leads have settled down to their meal of instant noodles and egg. Seo Jae-ha isn't pleased to see her eating only this kind of food and asks where her helper is. It turns out it is just our heroine being picky. She doesn't like food prepared by others, but the helper only comes occasionally. It is also awkward to cook for herself when she is living alone. Seo Jae-ha doesn't say anything else and changes the topic to the shareholders' meeting today. He tells her he was very surprised because he didn't expect her to have prepared so well. She laughs and tells him she will take that as a compliment. Staring at her, our male lead asks if she can really trust him. What if he doesn't manage to pull it off? She tells him she doesn't care about trust or doubt. She has no other options but him. This revenge means everything to her and she must succeed in it. So Jae-ha will have to prove himself too. Jae-ha is touched and promises her he will succeed. Over at Chae Si-rin's side, someone seems to be knocking at her door. She complains, wondering who would come over this late. She opens the door and sees it is Seo Jihan. It is clear, however, that he is very drunk. Si-rin doesn't care as she is just happy to see him. She whines, asking why he hasn't been answering her calls today. Jihan doesn't answer, but just sits down and sighs. Si-rin is a bit nervous seeing him like this. He smells so strongly of alcohol. She asks what made him drink so much. He covers his face and insists he only drank a little bit. Si-rin reminds him of his promise to drink together with her if he is feeling upset. He explains to her it is because of Yeojin. Si-rin wants to know why, and he says Yeojin already knows about them. Si-rin pretends to be nervous and asks how she found out. In her mind, though, she feels Yeojin would be foolish not to notice. An upset Jae-ha says she saw them spending time together and noticed Si-rin using his card. Si-rin is very happy Yeojin has found out. She laughs even as she says she tried to hide it. Jihan continues talking about Yeojin, saying she appointed Seo Jae-ha as the professional manager. Si-rin is sick of him talking about Yeojin. The woman is so annoying. Of course she doesn't say that, but instead asks if Jae-ha is his brother. Jihan says he is. He is the oldest son of the Hojin group and his half-brother. Si-rin wants to know what they should do now. She insults Yeojin for knowing about them and pretending not to be aware. She calls her creepy, not at all like the sister she knew. She keeps trying to spoil Yeojin's image by talking about how she wasn't like this before and has since changed so much. She hugs Jihan and complains about how unfair Yeojin is, handing the management rights to his brother when she is still engaged to him. She should have given it to her future husband. Jihan reveals that their engagement ended today. Yeojin called it off. At this moment, Si-rin is just short of getting up and dancing. She pretends to be sad and asks what they should do, but really she is so happy and thrilled she could dance. Knowing he can't see her, she twists around and smiles in excitement. With Yeojin gone now, it won't be a hopeless dream for her to become the mistress of Hojin Group. She calms herself down and tells him about Yeojin's plan to participate in the anchor's audition. That was why she was calling him before. But seeing him now, she feels sad for him. She hugs him because it must have been hard for him. Yes, girl, it must have been really hard for a cheater to get caught. Jihan isn't concerned about her comfort. He stands suddenly, asking if Yeojin really applied for the open audition. Si-rin confirms she did. She even handed in her application form. Jihan stares down at her and suddenly offers her a proposal. If he sets the stage for her, is she confident she can beat Yeojin and become the anchor? Saren smiles and confidently says she can. She makes a vow to herself. In this life, everything Yojin has, she will take away and make it hers. Yojin has no idea of the devious plan the petty man and his mistress are making. She is in her parents' VIP suite at the hospital. The doctor tells her there is no other option for her parents except to perform surgery on them, and even that has a low chance of success. Yojin is a bit reluctant and asks him to keep searching for other ways. The doctor promises to do his best and she thanks him. Alone with her parents, Yojin can finally speak her mind. She begs them to wake up and not to leave her like this. She tells them about the shareholders' meeting she had and how Jihan and Young Min were well prepared. Even though she managed to handle it well, she is still worried. Will she really be able to protect W Group? Our female lead seems to have slept off and only wakes up when the nurse comes around. He says her time is up and she has to check out. She apologizes for dozing off, but suddenly discovers something shocking. There is a blanket covering her. She wonders who would do something like this. Outside the VIP suite, the man responsible for that sweet act is walking away with his hands in his pocket. And who else can it be but our male lead, Seo Jae-ha? It is finally the time for the open audition for the news anchor. There are many ladies gathered around. One is talking to her friend and is worried about doing well in the audition. Her friend assures her she will since she worked hard preparing. The first girl mentions the rumors of it being pre-decided and wonders if it is true. The other girl says it surely can't be. The two ladies seem to be talking randomly, but they keep looking in one direction. And that is where our female lead is. Yojin pretends not to hear them and walks past. She can feel all the ladies glaring at her. She sighs. What hasn't she been through? This time around, she's even being ostracized. The person behind all this decides to show up at this time. Chae-Serene comes around to confirm if Yojin really broke off the engagement with Jihan. Yojin asks the younger woman if that is all she has to say. Chae-Serene seems to be proud as she advises Yojin to leave by herself before she is disgraced. Yojin seems to find this statement funny and laughs at Saren. This makes the other woman angry and she demands to know what is so funny. Yojin says it is nothing. She just remembered something. Just as Saren feels Yojin has changed, Yojin thinks the other woman has changed too. Saren used to be so afraid of her. Worried about her relationship with Jihan being exposed, she was always timid around Yojin. Yojin tells her she has changed, but these simple words make Saren even angrier. She mocks our girl for going from being the main anchor of the evening news to a radio show host. However, Yojin isn't bothered by that. Saren continues trying to provoke her by saying Yojin was pushed out. Yojin doesn't argue and agrees with her. Chae-Serene advises her then to stop embarrassing herself by coming for auditions. She calls it pitiful to watch and wants to know why Yojin is still bothering to work. She should just stay at home and inherit her parents' wealth. Yojin calls her actions childish. She wants to know if that is why Saren decided to ostracize her with her little group. Is this her little way of forcing Yojin to go back home? Saren denies ever ostracizing her and asks her to bring proof. Yojin wonders what Chae-Serene did over the weekend, because now the way all the colleagues look at her after the shareholders meeting is unsettling. Just as she is thinking this, she hears two ladies gossiping behind her back. They call her ruthless and look down on her. They talk about the rumors which say she was the one that planned her parents' accident just so she could take over the W Group. Someone tries to defend her as they don't believe she can do that. The other person insists it is true. Even her going to visit her parents is just a show. She is just a third-generation heir who tried to kill her parents just so she could get her inheritance. Hearing this makes Yojin so mad. She wonders how Saren could stoop so low as to spread such a baseless rumor. Suddenly, a strange man approaches our female lead. He seems to be a staff member for the audition set man and says he has been looking for Yojin. He asks why she hasn't been answering her phone. She checks her pockets but can't find it. She explains that she must have left it behind. She wants to know what is going on. The man says the director wants to see her. He wants her to come down to the basement set 2 for a moment. Yojin is surprised he is asking her to come now. The audition is about to start. Why is the director asking her to come to the set and not even to his office? The man tells her it was someone that gave him the message too. The only thing the person said is that it is urgent. Yojin is confused because she knows the set 2 is only used for small production dramas. She tries to call the director to confirm, but her phone is missing. The man tells her the director is not picking up. With no choice, Yojin thanks the staff member and leaves. When she gets there, the place is still intact. None of the props used for drama have been cleared. Suddenly, the door opens up and someone enters the room. Our girl is nervous, but when she looks up to see who it is just Seo Jae-ha. He is surprised to see her. She is even more shocked to see him. She asks why he is here. How did he even get in? He explains he had business to do with the boss. Yojin remembers that he also works in Hojin. He was the one who handled the KBC studio move last time. It is his turn to ask why she is down here. She tells him it was the staff that directed her here. She followed their direction, but it seems this is not the set for the audition. Jae-ha finds the situation strange. She asks why he is here if he came to meet the boss. He boldly says he got bored, so he ran away. Yo-jin is surprised he can do that. He tells her he just told them he had an urgent call and then slipped away. For a moment, he pities his poor secretary, who would probably have to endure everything on his behalf, but oh well. He narrows his eyes when he hears Yo-jin laughing. She finds him very ridiculous and tells him so. He lets her enjoy herself and laugh at him. He suggests they leave since it doesn't seem like the director would be coming anytime soon. Yo-jin agrees with him, thinking it might have been some kind of misunderstanding. Suddenly, they hear a click. Someone is in the room with them. Yo-jin is startled and rushes forward to see who it is. Seo Jae-ha notices the lights and reminds her of it. He tries to stop her. He isn't fast enough as the stage lights come on. Yo-jin is standing right in the middle of the three of them. Yo-jin stands there shocked. She can't hear Seo Jae-ha calling out to her. All her thoughts are filled with the scene of her death in her previous life. She remembers the truck with its headlights pointed on her face. The scene still causes her trauma and she is unable to control herself. She suddenly faints, leaving Jae-ha shouting her name in panic. Yo-jin wakes up to someone calling her name forcefully. Her eyes open and she sees Seo Jae-ha above her. He is in a panic and tells her to get a hold on herself. She is confused as she can't remember what happened. He explains she briefly passed out after losing consciousness. He is still worried about her and asks if she is okay. She tells him her body still feels weak. He wants to know when she started having this condition. She explains to him it was just the lights. She felt it was too blinding and so she couldn't breathe. Seeing her about to panic again, he grabs her head and asks her to look into his eyes. He rubs her face and assures her she is not alone. He covers her eyes and tells her to start talking slow breaths. A few minutes later, the two are leaning against the wall. Yo-jin has her head on Jae-ha's shoulder and his jacket is covering her. After a while, she raises her head. He inquires if she is feeling a bit better now and she assures him she is. She notices her palm is injured and is surprised. He begs her to bear with it for now. He has already called his assistant Han to come over and pick her up. Yoon Yo-jin, however, is bothered about the audition. He wants to know if the audition is really that important to her, and she says it is. She rushes to stand, but she can't complete her sentence because she is still weak. He quickly gets up and holds her. He advises her to calm down for now and try taking deep breaths. She listens to him but smells something so surprising, that citrus scent she noticed before. The door opens at that moment and Assistant Han is here with a crewman. He is worried about Seo Jae-ha, but the man assures him he is fine. He says his assistant should be worried about Yo-jin instead. Assistant Han notices Yo-jin and is surprised to see the both of them together. The crewman with him says the set was locked up after the drama ended. Yo-jin tells them it was open, and Jae-ha adds that someone also locked them inside the room from outside. The assistant is shocked. Jae-ha wants to know if the anchor's audition is still going on, and the assistant says it is for now. Jae-ha immediately orders him to contact the director and tell him he is coming over to the studio to observe. The assistant approaches Yo-jin, who is thinking about something. He asks why she is sweating so much. She wants to know what the time is, and he says 3 o'clock. Yo-jin is a bit panicked because she still has to memorize the audition lines, but right now, even skimming through feels overwhelming to her. She feels a sense of despair. Will 10 minutes be enough? Jae-ha suddenly speaks. Our female lead looks at him in confusion, and he informs her he has just spoken with the director. He will buy her 10 minutes time, so she has to win this for them. Staring at his handsome, confident face, Yo-jin smiles happily. Over at the audition set, a staff member is congratulating Chai Si-rin for doing a great job. She giggles and thanks him. The man wants to know who is next, but his assistant says they haven't arrived at the waiting room. He demands to know who could do that, and the assistant replies, "It is Yoon Yo-jin." Behind them, Se-rin smiles wickedly. How can Yo-jin possibly show up for the audition when she is locked up in the set? She pretends to care and asks what they should do after all. Yo-jin is not the type to behave so irresponsibly. The staff member wants to know if she has Yo-jin's number so they can contact her. If not, they will have to report to the director. They hear a commotion and turn to look. It seems there is no need to report as the director has escorted Seo Jae-ha personally to the studio to observe. Seo Jae-ha explains he wants to see the scene live for once instead of going through the footage. The director agrees with him. It is a different experience watching live than watching it through footage. Se-rin isn't happy to see Jae-ha here and keeps staring at him. Suddenly, he turns to look at her and glares at her darkly. She quickly looks away in fear. She seems to realize that something is wrong with her plan. Reality proves her right as the staff announce Yo-jin has arrived. Our female lead doesn't even spare Se-rin a glance and just walks past her to the stage. She reminds herself that cameras are not scary. She has faced them more than a dozen, even 100 times. Staring straight at Se-rin, she wants the girl to watch smartly and see the difference between the both of them. Se-rin feels Yo-jin's gaze and becomes nervous. And then our female lead starts. The audition is over and our female lead has crushed the mistress. Everyone is pleased. They can't stop complimenting and praising Yo-jin because she is really good at her job. They wonder who would be the anchor, but think hiring someone with experience like Yo-jin would be the best choice. Their words make Siren, who is standing behind them, tremble so much in anger. She can't believe it. She walks away angrily. Yo-jin has no idea of the tantrum Siren is playing. She is in the dressing room searching for her phone and she finds it. She is nervous about the hospital calling while she was away. Her greatest fear comes through as there is a message from the hospital informing her that her parents' conditions have worsened. Yo-jin doesn't even think about herself or her injury and rushes to the hospital. The doctor is outside her ward waiting for her to arrive. She asks him what happened. How could they both have cardiac arrest? She is anxious to know they are fine. The doctor informs her mother's condition is a bit more severe as there are signs of a cerebral hemorrhage. Yo-jin is in tears. The doctor doesn't stop and says her mother suffered cardiac arrest and was in the intensive care unit all night. It seems... Yo-jin stops him from finishing his sentence. She already knows what he has to say. She sits by her mother's bed, crying. She wonders why her mother is trying to leave her so soon. Like a child, she complains about her day, how she was trapped in the set all because of a cruel person. If it wasn't for Jae-ha, she might still be stuck in the basement. She calls him a strange person as she doesn't understand why he keeps wanting to help her. She thinks it is truly weird. A nurse comes inside then. He greets her and asks her to show him her hand. She is a bit confused by his request. He tells her he heard it was injured. Yo-jin shows it to him and he starts applying medicine to it. He tells her it is quite scraped up, so it might hurt a bit. She wants to know who told him she was hurt, and he says it was the gentleman who visits her. It was him who mentioned there had been an accident. It seems the man was worried she would not have treated it yet. While the nurse focuses on treating her wounds, Yo-jin is busy trying to figure out who the man is. She can't, and so asks the nurse. He doesn't know either, but tells her to check at the counter. They would surely know. The nurse offers to check for her, but she declines. It seems she already knows who it is. She is sure it is Jae-ha and wonders when he came and went without her knowing. To her, they are just partners helping each other with their revenge. However, the kindness he shows her doesn't seem simple. It touches her heart and makes her feel choked up, and she starts crying again. She wonders why it is like this. After a rough day, our girl is back at her apartment, but it seems like things are not working in her favor. Why? Because Seo Ji-han is standing outside her apartment waiting for her. She ignores him and walks past him, bruising his fragile ego. He demands to know where she has been. She tells him to leave as this is her house. He forces his way in, disregarding Yo-jin's protests, and claims he left some things behind. Yo-jin glares at him angrily. She never wanted to move out. That was the last thing in her mind. But with Ji-han's behavior, will she really have to leave the house her grandfather personally chose for her? It seems Ji-han still can't accept the truth as he is once again asking if she is really planning to break off their engagement. She mockingly asks him if she should make it fake instead. He wants to know if she doesn't regret it, and she asks why she would. It isn't her share to bear, and she doesn't regret it. Instead, breaking up with him makes her very happy. He doesn't want to give up and tells her the family elders will not agree to their breaking off the engagement. He threatens her that their relationship will not change over something so small. Yo-jin coldly asks if that is his excuse for his behavior. He insists that it won't happen again like he told her before. However, our female lead is not having it. She tells him to discuss it with his lawyer. She has already sent everything he brought back to him, and she tells him to go through them because nothing is missing. He threatens her and says if he leaves like this, he will really end up dating her junior. Yo-jin laughs. She turns to him angrily and asks if he was hoping she would be jealous. She tells him to do whatever he wants with Sirin because she won't get involved any further. She vows to Ji-han, however, that he will regret this. The next day at the KBC company, the staff are in the cafeteria. Our female lead is eating with her senior. She is thinking of how she would put her apartment up for sale and move away to somewhere Ji-han can't find her. She wonders where she should go. She doesn't notice how nervous her senior looks until he speaks up and tells her to delete the broadcasting app. She is surprised at his sudden requests, and he advises her not to open the app or turn it on. She shouldn't even look at it. She is confused and wants to know what is going on. While her senior keeps shouting and moaning about why he said anything, she opens the app. The first post she sees seems to be about her. The post is asking if the rumors about the newly reinstated announcer are true. Under the post, the comments are messy and are all condemning her. They are all saying she tried to kill her parents just to gain her inheritance. She wonders how such a rumor could spread, but she sees a surprising comment among the posts. The anchor position has been decided. She asks the senior about it and he nods. There is a new announcement on the broadcasting app stating that Yoon Yo-jin position has changed from announcer to anchor. Yoon Yo-jin got the position. Her senior is very happy and loudly congratulates her, but Yo-jin is nervous. Why? because everyone else is staring at her angrily and jealously. She can't help but mutter about how things have taken a strange turn. Yo-jin is on her phone in the bathroom speaking to the family lawyer. They seem to be talking about some documents, and Yo-jin wants to know if they have been prepared. Mr. Hyunk says they have and asks if he should have someone deliver them. Yo-jin refuses, stating that she would rather meet him in person. Unknown to her, someone is in the bathroom listening to her conversation. Yo-jin decides to meet the lawyer in a cafe near her broadcasting station tomorrow. As she shares parting remarks with the person on the phone, she notices someone standing behind her. With a glance, she sees Chae Se-rin glaring at her. Yo-jin isn't fazed. She asks the girl if she has something to say. If not, then our female lead will have to leave. As she walks past, she hears Se-rin ask if she used money. Yo-jin is confused and doesn't understand the question at first. It seems Se-rin is still feeling sour about losing and asks if Seo Jae-ha pulled strings for Yo-jin. If not, how could this happen? How could she become an anchor? Yo-jin calmly faces Se-rin. With a hand on her hip, she lets the girl know that throwing money around and relying on a man's influence is all Se-rin's job. Her statement makes Se-rin angry, but Yo-jin doesn't stop. She asks Se-rin if she pulled all those nasty tricks to beat her, knowing that she can never beat Yo-jin is another way. She suspects that Chae Se-rin is the one that locked her in the set. The mistress trembles and says Yo-jin has no proof. Yo-jin agrees with her that there isn't proof because she never even bothered trying too hard to look for it. Our heroine can't be bothered to tire herself out by digging into it. She is already busy enough as it is. However, she warns Chae Se-rin. If the girl tries to ever drag her parents into her pathetic games again, she might just get creative and actually manufacture some kind of evidence that will make Se-rin wish it was fake. It's the next day, and our heroine is in a cafe shop. Sitting across from her is the family legal lawyer and advisor. She thanks him for coming this far and asks about the things she told him to bring. He drops a flash on the table and pushes it to her. It contains everything he could find. He is a bit confused on why she asked him to dig out information on a company called Intech. Besides, from what he can see, Intech seems to be trying to cozy up to Ho-jin. Yo-jin agrees he is right. That is the company Jihan is after. From the corner of her eyes, she notices a lady sitting opposite them with a large hat on her head. Yo-jin smiles because just as she expected, Se-rin indeed followed her to the cafe during lunchtime. She is sure the other woman doesn't know anything about the person Hyunk. Right now, Se-rin is just desperate to find something to hold on to since she lost the anchor position. At that, Yo-jin turns around and stares straight in Chae Se-rin's direction. The other girl is flustered and tries to hide her face behind her book and her huge glasses. Yo-jin keeps looking straight and smiling, making Se-rin more nervous. She huddles in her chair, sweating badly. Yo-jin is done staring and continues discussing with the lawyer. He asks if she really wants to break off the engagement, and she assures him she does. That is not the real question, though. He wants to know if Yo-jin plans on making Ho-jin an enemy. It isn't just about the two chairmen being friends for years. The two companies have both been cooperating together for a long time. Yo-jin says she knows. He informs her that if she wants to make Ho-jin an enemy, she'd better have a good enough reason. Yo-jin asks him to check his email. He is caught and wants to know if he should do it now. She says yes, and he does. What he sees must be very bad because he starts trembling in anger. He asks her if what she showed him is true. She assures lawyer Hyunk that it is. It seems the message is evidence of Seo Jihan's plan. He planned to marry her, take over W from the inside, and then wipe it out. Yo-jin tells the lawyer Jihan really covered all his bases. He is planning to devour W completely down to the last scrap. The lawyer is in a panic and questions the chairman's accident. Was that fabricated by them also? Yo-jin says she has investigated, and it truly was just an accident. I don't think so, girl. She tells the lawyer that she can't explain everything, but what he should know is that Ho-jin Group can't hold out for long unless they merge with W Group, and she has no intention of helping him do, which is why she is breaking off the engagement. The lawyer thinks it is weird. Would Seo Jihan really back down so easily after preparing so much? Yo-jin says he won't be able to do much since he is still an unstable successor. The more noise he makes, the worse it will backfire on him. Meanwhile, the undercover agent Chae Se-rin is feeling frustrated. She can't hear anything they are saying. She sees Yo-jin stand up to leave first since their lunch break is almost over. The lawyer promises they will talk more later and the two leave. Behind them, Se-rin is staring in worry. Back at the studio, Yo-jin has just finished reporting the evening news. Everyone praises her for doing such a good job on her first day. They call her a professional because of the way she handled it, and she modestly replies that she has been doing it before, so it is not a big deal. As she is leaving, she sees Chae Se-rin in the room and is surprised, wondering what the woman is doing there. A staff member comes up to her and says the director is looking for her. She is startled and asks if it is really her. The man says it is, and the director wants her to drop by his office before she heads out. She agrees, but has made up her mind to call and check again to make sure it isn't a lie too this time. It turns out it is true, and she heads over to the director's office. She knocks and enters, only to see the director is with a man. It is Seo Jae-ha. He approaches her and says he watched her broadcast. She wonders what he is doing here. He asks her what kind of question that is. Of course, he came here to work. And also to congratulate her on her first day on her new post. Behind him, the director also joins in. He tells Yo-jin, Jae-ha came here for an investment matter and monitored her broadcast while he was at it. He adds that they have plans afterwards. Yo-jin is confused because she has no idea of this. Seo Jae-ha smiles because his plan has been exposed. He insists they have plans for dinner. With that, he leans over her and asks her to go eat with him. Before they go, the director praises her and adds that it was Seo Jae-ha's suggestion for them to change into a public audition. Yo-jin is surprised to hear this and stares at Jae-ha. The director remembers she was so curious back then. Normally, they would do an informal evaluation, but the CEO decided to give everyone a fair chance, and that is how she got selected. While the director congratulates her, she can't help staring at Seo Jae-ha. So it was him who pulled strings and helped her all along. Staring at him again now, he suddenly looks so much different. So handsome that she starts blushing. The two head out for dinner. Where are we? Seo-jin speaks. She thought they would go to a restaurant, but they are in an apartment. Jae-ha replies that this is his house. She is so shocked to find out he brought her to his house. Or that he even had a house. Come on, girl, he is not a bum. She asks him about the hotel he was staying in before, and he says he left. He moved into his house a week ago. When she enters his house, she is surprised. Even though it is a new house, it feels so much like home. He asks her the same question, asking if it feels like home to her. He doesn't forget to tease her, saying his house is more cozier than her home. She laughs but tells him the house is quite large for someone living alone. He suddenly stops and stares at her ambiguously. He says the house might not be for just one person. He walks away while Yo-jin stays behind, confused by his statement. He tells her she never knows what life has in store. The two head to the kitchen where Jae-ha starts busying himself. You know what they say, a man in the kitchen is very attractive. It seems our heroine agrees with this too because she keeps staring at Jae-ha. He notices and asks why she is looking at him like that. She blushes as she admits it is fascinating. At that moment, she remembers the time they spent locked in the set and how Jae-ha looked into her eyes and assured her she wasn't alone. Remembering that now makes her face turn even redder, and it is not from the heat. She tries to take her mind off things and asks what he is making. He names a fancy dish which has Yo-jin in awe. She never knew he could cook and thought he would be eating out. He tells her eating out is nice, but he just wanted his Yo-jin to have a home-cooked meal. He knows it must have been long since she had one. Once again, she gets lost staring at him and blushes again. He is done and warns her it tastes a little bland. He asks if she likes mild flavors. She says she eats anything but doesn't like food that tastes flat. She thanks him for helping her out during the audition. He refuses to accept her thanks and says she earned it through her own efforts. She still insists on thanking him because he has helped her in plenty of ways. He also helped her in the warehouse and she properly thanks him. He says it was a normal thing to do, helping people in a tough spot. He changes the topic and wants to know what sort of food she likes. She says she likes all kinds. He teases her, pretending to ask about how she cooks it, but then saying she must have never cooked before. She glares at him and scolds him for teasing her, but he smugly denies and says there are people like that. People who go through life without getting their hands wet. So he is teasing her. Yo-jin glares at him. He tells her to grab some salt from the shelf. He doesn't forget to tease her, asking if she can handle even that. She indignantly says she can and reaches out to open the shelf. Unfortunately, it is too high and she can't reach the salt, until a large hand comes from behind and picks it up. She looks back in surprise to see Jae-ha behind her. The two are in a kabadon position. He jokingly says he forgot to tell her he put it at his eye level. She calls him a mischievous brother-in-law, but he doesn't like it. He tells her the title doesn't sit well with him. His words make her blush again. After a whole lot of teasing, dinner is ready. Goodness, I thought they would never finish making this meal. The two are done with their dinner and Seo Jae-ha has driven Yo-jin home. She thanks him for cooking such a delicious meal for her. In her mind, she knows it has been long since she has eaten a meal prepared just for her. She turns to leave, but he tells her to wait. He goes around to the back of the car and pulls out a large bouquet of flowers. He hands it over to a surprised Yo-jin. He says it is a gift to celebrate and also a request for her to keep helping him with the revenge. Staring at the flower, she smiles broadly in happiness and thanks him. In an apartment, we are shown Chae-serene going through her laptop. It seems she has discovered Yo-jin's secret as she suddenly smirks and sighs, calling Yo-jin very careless. Turns out the reason why Mistress Seren is calling Yoon Yo-jin careless is because she stole the USB drive lawyer Hyunk gave to Yo-jin. Seren is proud of herself for stealing it without Yo-jin noticing. She remembers the man Yo-jin met with. At first she thought he was just a random guy, but looking through the files now, they were actually discussing something so important in the cafe. Because it was too noisy and she couldn't hear a word they said, she had no choice but to go steal the USB drive. What a good reason. Looking at the documents which are about the InTech project progress, she is proud because she thinks she has found something huge. It turns out Jihan was planning such a big project with InTech, and he must have been preparing ambitiously. However, she can't understand why this document would be with Yoon Yeo-jin. Se-rin starts thinking about Seo Jihan. When she first started dating him, she didn't think too much and just thought it would be nice to marry a nice guy, but now, she wants to become the mistress of the Hojin group. Suddenly, her phone receives a message saying her cake has arrived. The next day at work, Yeo-jin is presented with a huge cake by her colleagues, congratulating her on her reinstatement and also on her anchor appointment. Yeo-jin scratches her hair in doubt as she stares at the 6 ladies in front of her. Looking at their angry and glum faces, how can this be a celebration? She thanks them and leans down to blow the candle out. However, she is annoyed when she perceives the scent of mangoes. The ladies say it was the director that told them to give it to her. Seeing the 6 of them with mean girl looks and folded hands, she knows they didn't want to do it themselves. Still, she thanks them. She wonders, however, why the director would give her a mango cake after she told him she is allergic to mangoes. The ladies, as if reading her thoughts, tell her they ordered a mango cake because they heard she loves eating mangoes. She is shocked and asks them who said that. They all turn to look back. Behind them is Se-rin, who claims that Yeo-jin is a mango fan and so they went to far lengths to get the cake. Walking forward, she insists that Yeo-jin eats the cake with them. What a petty, narrow-minded mistress. We don't know why, but Yeo-jin actually eats the cake with them. She has to go to the bathroom to throw up. Staring at her face in the mirror, she scolds Se-rin for being petty. Speaking of the devil, the lady arrives and asks if the cake was nice. After all, it was from a famous bakery. Yeo-jin tells her she is being childish. Se-rin says it isn't childish because great efforts went into preparing this cake, especially since she is the one who picked it out. Angry, Yeo-jin reminds Se-rin Jihan gave her a marriage registration form. Se-rin pretends not to care and says they broke off the engagement already. Yeo-jin explains that breaking up a union between families isn't that simple, meaning Jihan won't be able to let go of her that easily. She tells Se-rin her reality. Even if it is not her, Jihan will have to marry a woman with similar qualifications, so Chai Se-rin will never be an option. This makes the mistress truly mad. Yeo-jin lets Se-rin know she will only be able to play around with love, but will never truly have Jihan to herself. Se-rin angrily yells about Jihan wanting to be with her. Yeo-jin calls her naive because if that was the case, Se-rin would have been the anchor, not her. Se-rin is confused, so Yeo-jin explains. Jihan is the heir of the Hojin group. If he pushed for it, the network would have had no choice but to place Se-rin in the anchor position. There would never have even been an audition if Jihan truly cherished her. Knowing her words have hurt Se-rin, Yeo-jin is about to leave, but the mistress won't give up. She tells her Jihan can't leave her. Yeo-jin tells her to keep thinking like that if it would give her peace of mind. Se-rin yells out that Jihan is living with her. She sees Yeo-jin doesn't care and repeats it once again. Yeo-jin says they should keep living together then. As a last resort, Se-rin says she is pregnant. Yeo-jin is surprised. Se-rin repeats that she is pregnant. This is why Jihan cannot leave her. She says they are destined for each other, especially because Jihan is someone who values blood ties more than anything. Yeo-jin is a bit sad because in her past life she couldn't conceive. That was also because Seo Jihan rarely came back home. However, the fact that she couldn't have his baby was something that tormented her. She always felt like she was at fault. In her past life, the news of Chai Se-rin's pregnancy was what shattered her marriage. Jihan made her last life so miserable, and now in this life he is trying to tie her down again. She thought Se-rin's child would come 5 years later, so why is it coming now? It seems like fate itself is trying to obstruct her attempt to change it. She coldly asks Se-rin if she wants Jihan that badly. Se-rin, who is nothing but a vain person, would she love Seo Jihan if he had nothing? If he wasn't the heir of the Hojin group and if he weren't rich? She tells Se-rin to take him if she wants him that badly. After all, she doesn't need him anymore. As she leaves, her eyes fill with tears, and she vows to make Se-rin regret this moment for the rest of her life. Yeo-jin is still angry and is heading home after work when she receives a text from Seo Jae-ha. He claims there is a strange item in his house. Yeo-jin is confused by his message until he sends another one asking if she forgot something. She says no, but then he sends a picture of a fountain pen with the name Yoon engraved on it. She recognizes it as hers, the one her late grandfather gave to her as a gift. Seo Jae-ha sends a cute message saying the only Yoon who comes in and out of his house is her. The message makes her a bit nervous as she wonders if it makes sense. He sends a text asking to come pick her since he already knows she is on her way home. He doesn't take her to his house this time, but to the Han River, which surprises our heroine. She asks why, and he replies that they both needed a breath of fresh air. The two have found a blanket and are sharing a drink together. She knows he has to drive, though, and wonders if she will be drinking alone. He admits she is, as his secretary has already closed from work. And so they start drinking. Jae-ha is surprised to see her finish 1 can of beer in just only 1 shot. She finds it refreshing and asks if she can drink more. She stands as she says beer is not enough for her since her food today was a bit too strong. She offers for them to drink some soju. Jae-ha looks like he is watching a fright show. He is sweating as he watches Yeojin drink and drink. He comments about not knowing she could drink so well. She laughs and asks if he also wants to drink. Then they can stay up all night. He tells her it would be quite a sight if the both of them get drunk. He grabs the cup from her, saying she has drunk too much. She insists she isn't drunk and even stands up to stretch. Suddenly, she slips and almost falls on her face. Jae-ha rushes to quickly grab her by the waist. Their faces are so close as he whispers to her that she is drunk. Our heroine is shy and quickly moves away from him with her red face. She doesn't know what came over her, but she suddenly asks him if he would believe her if she said she could see the future. He teases her, asking if she was a shaman instead of an anchor. She laughs and says it wouldn't be a bad idea. Rather than saying she died and came back to life, saying she received a divine calling would be much more believable. Who would believe her if she said she got killed by her ex-husband and so was sent back to the past? And that her ex-husband and his mistress are having another child? It is such an absurd story. The only thing she can say is that she hates his brother. She hates him so much. With tears in her eyes, she says, hate is even too mild a word. She truly despises him, more than Jae-ha could ever imagine. Seeing her like this, Jae-ha hugs her closely and tries to comfort her. He knew it was hard for her, and it is still hard right now. He tells her about his past. When his mother passed away, he woke up to find nobody by his side. And as such, he isn't good at receiving or giving comfort. His life has always been more about showing actions than words, so he wants to give Yeojin the kind of comfort he can. Yeojin stares at him in surprise. He proposes that they really mess with Seo Ji-han. Since he proposed to Yeojin before, the best way to mess with him would be for the two of them to get married. As such, he holds out his hand to Yeojin and asks that they get married. That would be the perfect revenge. She can use him however she wants when they become husband and wife. Yeojin returns to work the next day, but her mind is filled with thoughts about Jae-ha's sudden proposal. Her face becomes red as she imagines his handsome face, and she slaps her cheeks to stop those naughty thoughts. Unfortunately, her plan doesn't work as her cheeks become more red than a ripe tomato. The girl almost goes crazy and slams her head against the desk, frightening the poor man waiting for her. Yeojin, who is desperate for revenge, never thought she would develop true feelings for Jae-ha. For some reason, she just feels safe in his presence. The newscaster standing beside Yeojin probably thinks she's possessed. He reminds her about the recording, but our heroine has totally forgotten about it. She rushes off to the studio, only to meet her biggest enemy. Siren is once again surrounded by her group of friends who are all giggling and talking about her upcoming proposal. The mistress purposely stares at Yeojin as she pretends to be shy, telling the girls it hasn't been confirmed. The men also join in the fun as they all congratulate Siren. Meanwhile, Yeojin probably wishes she could strangle this shameless woman. She listens as the girls praise the mistress until she suddenly receives a call. The scumbag ex is here to find trouble again. Yeojin picks the call but warns Jihan to keep it brief. Behind her, Siren hears her lover's name and immediately becomes upset. Our heroine doesn't notice the furious mistress because Jihan has just announced that Chairman Seo is back. Yeojin already received a call from the old man during the weekend, and he ordered her to visit the Seo mansion. Jihan says the old master is summoning everyone back to the house, so Yeojin is sure the old man must have heard about their broken engagement and the failed merger. Jihan still wants to act like a faithful fiancé and offers to pick Yeojin after work so they can head to the mansion together. Our heroine is about to refuse when she notices the nosy Siren approaching. Obviously, the mistress is feeling nervous. Yeojin decides to play a little prank and immediately switches to a cute tone, acting like she is speaking to her lover. Even poor Jihan is frightened by her sudden change. Siren is about to die from jealousy when she hears their intimate tone. Yeojin keeps talking about a present when in fact it is just the old master's hypertension pills. But there is no way she will tell the mistress that. She wants Siren to drown in anger and jealousy, and so far her plan seems to be working. The mistress looks like she is about to commit murder. Yeojin turns away in disdain and keeps talking to Jihan in an intimate tone. Siren can't handle it anymore and storms away in anger. Behind her, our heroine heads to the recording studio with a cunning smile on her face. Immediately she finishes her work, Yeojin rushes to the chairman's estate. She arrives feeling a bit nervous because the old master is a difficult person. He might seem like a kind old man, but most times he is always cold and strict. He is truly someone from the older generation. Yeojin is drowning in her sorrow, but it disappears when she sees the handsome man waiting outside for her. She runs to Jaeha's side, explaining that the recording ran late. She wonders why he is standing outside, but he says he was waiting for her to arrive. He complains about her lateness, and Yeojin, feeling guilty, says he should have called. Jaeha assures her that he is fine, but soon notices something strange. Yojin's face is as red as blood. He questions the girl, causing her to cover her face in embarrassment. Still, she can't hide her love-struck look as she remembers their sweet times together. The shy girl claims she is cold and runs away, leaving behind a confused Jae-ha. The two head into the mansion and finally arrive at the meeting spot. Chairman Seo stares at them, wondering why they arrived together. Jae-ha explains that they met outside and quickly changes the topic. He asks about the old man's trip and urges his grandfather to stop traveling around due to his health. Grandpa Seo protests, saying he isn't an useless old man who can't handle a trip. He is still quite capable. Everyone is smiling. Well, except for Seo Ji-han. He slams the table as he glares at his brother and Yojin. Unable to control his jealousy, he smirks and questions her arrival with Jae-ha, causing our poor girl to nearly choke on her tea. Ji-han keeps questioning Yojin's relationship with his brother, but after she explains that she met Jae-ha in the garden, she totally ignores the scumbag. She turns to the chairman asking about his trip. The old man is also concerned about her reinstatement and the two converse, completely ignoring the fuming Ji-han. Yojin declares that she wants to live for herself from now on. She apologizes for not visiting sooner and tells the chairman she has an announcement. Our heroine has made up her mind to call off the engagement. The men are all shocked and speechless. Chairman Seo begs Yojin to change her mind and forgive Ji-han one more time. He reminds her that the promise was made between the two families and even claims that he has already punished Ji-han without her knowledge. He says the boy has already changed and begs the girl to take his grandson back, or he would feel too guilty to face her grandfather after he dies. Yojin interrupts the man's long speech and mentions that Seren is having a child. The hall is silent for a minute before everyone explodes. Ji-han and his father almost climb the table as they question Yojin about the child. Our heroine explains that the mistress is pregnant, causing Ji-han to nearly die from shock. He clearly has no idea that he is about to become a father. Yojin is secretly happy but still pretends to be surprised that he doesn't know. She tells Grandpa Seo that Ji-han's mistress is her close junior who works in her company. How can she forgive a man who cheated with her closest friend and is even having a child with her? Even the old man would find it hard to be that forgiving. Ji-han's father is about to die from shock. He questions his silent son, but Ji-han also has no idea about the child. Grandpa Seo trembles in frustration, blaming himself for raising such children. Both his son and grandson all fell apart because of women. He finally agrees to follow Yojin's demands and wants to know her plan. Our heroine insists on breaking off the engagement, and the old man agrees. Ji-han jumps up then, yelling that the engagement can't be cancelled because the wedding has already been prepared. His grandfather yells at him to shut up, but Yojin surprisingly agrees with what he said. Since their engagement was a promise between the two families, it shouldn't be cancelled so easily. She grins and says they can proceed with the marriage, which leaves the other men shocked and confused. Just then, the silent Jae-ha finally speaks up and announces that he is marrying Yojin. Grandfather Seo is shocked, but before he can speak, Ji-han points at his brother and yells at him. Jae-ha reminds everyone that the engagement was originally between him and Yojin. He is just taking back what belongs to him. The old man is speechless, so the couple decide to leave and return when he has calmed down. The two step outside, but the furious Ji-han refuses to let them leave. He chases after Yojin, calling her name and begging her to come back to him. He promises to do better and says Seren was just a fling. He blames the girl for seducing him, after all. It totally wasn't his fault that he fell for her tricks out of curiosity and slept with her. Ji-han keeps saying he has no feelings for the girl, and even threatens to get rid of the child if Yojin doesn't like it. Our heroine is shocked that the man would suggest aborting his own child. She finds him shameless and calls him disgusting. Ji-han isn't bothered and even tries to make her feel guilty. He blames her for calling off their engagement just because of his tiny cheating mistake and says marrying his brother is wrong. He urges her to think about public opinion and the company. Jae-ha is tired of listening to his brother's useless rambling and tries to take Yojin away. Just then, the malicious man says Yojin is just the same as him. He accuses her of fooling around with his brother behind his back. He even says the girl has no right to blame him. Jae-ha is about to teach the scumbag a lesson, but Yojin stops him. She insists on dealing with this useless ex herself. The girl approaches Ji-han, telling him that she doesn't care about his relationship with Seren. She doesn't even care if he accuses her of cheating because he doesn't exist in her life anymore. Yojin urges him to stick with Seren and make her his wife. That way she won't despise him more than this. Ji-han realizes that he has lost Yojin completely and falls to his knees in defeat. The couple walk away, completely ignoring the heartbroken man. Jae-ha drives Yojin home in his car. The girl refuses to say a word, so he keeps glancing at her. Worried that she might be sad, he suggests that they have dinner together. Yojin says she isn't hungry, but Jae-ha insists that she has to eat. He feels thankful that they didn't have dinner in the old mansion because even though it is his home, he still feels uncomfortable. Jae-ha is sure that Yojin plans to have some ramen alone when she gets home. Instead of such a pitiful dinner, he suggests that they head to a restaurant and have a delicious meal. The two arrive at a restaurant and Jae-ha has barely had a sip of water before Yojin starts talking about their marriage. The girl has no plans for a long marriage and even wants to set a deadline for their divorce. Jae-ha is shocked, interrupting Yojin before she can move on. He questions her plans, wondering if their marriage will be temporary. Yo-jin looks surprised and says she only plans to be married to him for a year. Since the Intech project will only last for 1 year, she plans to divorce him right after. Jae-ha thought the girl had something important to talk about, but knowing she is planning their divorce, the man feels frustrated. Yo-jin is shocked when Jae-ha suggests that their marriage shouldn't be temporary. He points out that Yo-jin needs his support, so being married to him is the best option. Our heroine is moved by his idea, but when she remembers her tough enemies, she knows she doesn't need a husband. She persuades Jae-ha to focus on taking back Hojin within a year. Yo-jin already knows the man's plan is to create another group and swallow up his grandfather's company. Secretly, she calls him a crazy person. The girl insists on being married for a year, but Jae-ha bursts her bubbles and says he has no plans on divorcing. The man plans to stay by her side forever. Our heroine is in shock, and Jae-ha wants to know if she believes him. Yo-jin says she does because he is her partner, and their revenge requires a deep level of trust. She thinks Jae-ha wants to be by her side because of the benefits and promises to invest in all his future projects, even if they divorce. Jae-ha interrupts her speech and says he has no interest in the company because he is only interested in Yo-jin. He confesses that he has begun to develop special feelings towards the girl. Yo-jin immediately turns red and tries to change the topic, saying the man must be interested in her background. Jae-ha admits that her W group is indeed impressive, but he has no interest in the company. He is only greedy for Yoon Yo-jin. The man boldly declares that he might not let her go after a year passes. Yo-jin stares at the man in shock, but Jae-ha looks really serious. She explains that she doesn't dislike him, but she is just tired of marriage. Jae-ha is about to persuade her to change her mind when the waiter arrives with their food. Talk about perfect timing. Yo-jin is distracted by the delicious meal and now looks like a greedy little rabbit. She always wanted to taste this restaurant's meals but could never get a reservation. Jae-ha can't understand how someone who loves good food so much would be content with instant ramen every day. Yo-jin argues that instant food also has its own appeal. Our male lead mentions the famous chef Lee Jong-il, and Yo-jin excitedly admits that she knows him. What she doesn't reveal is that in her past life, she had joined the chef's private class during the tough years of her marriage. Jae-ha says the chef is holding a private cooking class which he has also signed up for. Yo-jin looks a bit jealous because it is really hard to register for the chef's lessons. Jae-ha, who has accomplished his goal, has a sly smile on his face. He immediately invites Yo-jin to accompany him to the chef's class during the weekend. Our heroine is sparkling with joy and immediately agrees to follow him. Jae-ha pretends to be relieved and says he had already promised to visit with his future wife. Yo-jin is amused and laughs as she agrees to be his cooking partner. The next day at the KBC company, Se-rin, the mistress, arrives singing a happy tune. But just as she steps inside, she sees Yoon Yo-jin receiving a phone call. The nosy mistress hides behind the wall as she tries to figure out who the woman is speaking to. Yo-jin has no idea a jealous snake is watching her and complains because Chef Lee Jong-il's class is scheduled to be held at 5 on Saturday. But after thinking about it, she just feels grateful to be attending his class. Se-rin is unhappy to hear this news because she is also a regular student at the chef's class. The workshops are supposed to be difficult to attend, yet Yo-jin managed to register. The mistress is also curious because the one-day classes are only for married couples and partners. She wonders who Yo-jin's partner would be, and looks terrified as she guesses that it might be Seo Jae-ha. Se-rin is still terrified when she returns to the broadcasting room. She glances at the elegant Yo-jin, feeling irritated at the sight of her. Just then, her flashy friends arrive, asking why she hasn't been hanging out with them. Se-rin, who hasn't even received a proposal, claims she is preparing for her wedding. The girls are all excited and want to know the wedding date. The mistress becomes nervous because everyone is listening and her lie might be exposed. She immediately changes her mind after glancing at Yo-jin and claims they haven't chosen a date. She says it might take 2 months and purposely raises her voice so Yo-jin can hear their conversation. Se-rin suspects that something must have happened between Yo-jin and Jihan after their trip to the chairman's estate. Seo Jihan has been distant from her ever since that day, and even though his marriage to Yo-jin has been called off, he still hasn't proposed to her. She feels upset because Jihan had always promised to marry her after taking away all of Yo-jin's assets. The mistress feels smug again and glances at Yo-jin. She is sure the girl is just pretending to be strong and must be suffering inside. The thought makes her happy, and she even announces that her wedding invitations will soon arrive. Her minions all praise her, saying the groom must be afraid that his bride will be stolen away. The mistress boasts about her loving fiancé and refuses to pay Yo-jin any attention. She really believes that she will become the daughter-in-law of the Hojin group, and Yo-jin, who is just a news anchor, will always be beneath her. Se-rin approaches her love rival to show off, announcing her wedding and asking for Yo-jin's blessings. She has a smug smile on her face as she praises herself for stealing away the only thing the woman has ever wanted. Se-rin really thinks she has taken away Yo-jin's only true love. She feels no shame and even says she is grateful to the woman. She leans over with a smug smile, asking Yo-jin to smile a little because her bad reputation will become worse if people think they are fighting. She moves away with a happy laugh, thinking that she has ruined Yo-jin's mood. But in the next moment, our heroine apologizes with a cute smile and even congratulates Se-rin on her wedding. The mistress is shocked and stammers as she expresses her thanks. She can't believe that Yo-jin is truly unbothered. Our female lead decides to mess with the mistress and pretends to be worried as she exposes Yojin's pregnancy. Siren is furious while her friends all cover their mouths in shock. They surround the girl, demanding to know if she is truly pregnant. Yojin pretends to be surprised and says she only exposed the secret because she thought everyone already knew. She congratulates Siren on her pregnancy, but the mistress looks like she is about to tear her apart. Yojin pays no attention to the girl's flattering Siren as she walks out. Behind her, the mistress watches her leave with a murderous look in her face. Yojin is happy to defeat the mistress, and so that Saturday, she tells Jae-ha all about the fight. The man is amused, but she blames him for spoiling her. For some reason, she feels bad about her actions. Jae-ha denies teaching the girl those bad habits, and the two share a laugh. They finally arrive at Master Lee Jong-il's cooking class, and the man welcomes them with a huge smile. The couple share a glance and are prepared to have an amazing date. Chapter 26. Our couple is done preparing their meal, and when Jong-il sees their food spread, he praises the two. The couple could totally steal his job. The chef waits for Jae-ha to step away to receive a phone call and immediately tells Yojin to move closer. It seems the man is about to reveal some secret. Jong-il reveals that his class was already fully booked, and there were no extra slots for the couple. Still, Jae-ha had personally visited his office and begged him to include them in his lessons. He even offered to pay any amount the master wanted just to get an extra spot. The ignorant Yojin laughs and says Jae-ha must be really interested in his cooking lessons. The chef waves away that excuse and says Jae-ha must have done it to make Yojin happy because he was desperate to take the class with her. Our heroine is surprised and laughs nervously. She assumes that it is just a misunderstanding and the chef is imagining a romantic marriage between the couple. Yojin glances at the chef but notices a familiar-looking ring behind his back. She immediately turns pale in shock and questions the man. Jong-il explains that a student from the previous class had left the ring behind. Our female lead trembles and grits her teeth in anger. She recognizes this ring because it looks just the same as her wedding ring from her previous life. Back then, Jihan had said the ring was a custom-made design and was crafted to be a matching pair. He had even claimed that the two designs were the only matching pair to exist in the whole world. Well, clearly the scumbag had lied. Yojin explains to the chef that the ring looks identical to her own wedding band. Jong-il reveals that the owner of the ring is also a future bride who always attends his regular classes. Yet, for some reason, she arrived with her fiancé today. Speak of the devil. Just then, the so-called bride appears, and, of course, it is the scheming Chae Se-rin. She pretends to be surprised to see Yojin while our heroine just sighs in frustration. The mistress asks the chef for her ring, and he happily hands it over. Yojin watches them with an annoyed look. She recalls Jihan promising that this ring was the only pair in the world and would make them a family. Turns out his words were just a load of rubbish since he had given the exact same ring to Chae Se-rin. Yojin trembles in anger as she recalls these memories. It seems the girl is still affected by that scumbag. Meanwhile, Se-rin shows off her ring, claiming it was given to her by her lover. Yojin turns away in disgust, but the chef, who has no idea that the girl is a scheming mistress, asks about her fiancé. Se-rin says he is in the garage, waiting for her to find her ring. Yojin doesn't believe the mistress because Jihan isn't the type of man to attend a cooking class. Se-rin keeps talking about her loving fiancé while glancing at Yojin. Our heroine finally realizes that the girl must have left the ring behind on purpose. Therefore, when Jae-ha arrives, she immediately pulls him away and insists that they leave. The two say their goodbyes and have no intentions of engaging the little mistress. But just because they want to avoid her doesn't mean Se-rin will do the same. She immediately chases after the couple and catches up to them at the elevator. The mistress calls out to Yojin and openly shows off her ring. She boasts that the ring is the same as Yojin's, but our heroine isn't interested. She even points out that it isn't her wedding ring anymore. Se-rin is unwilling to give up and finally reveals that she chose the ring design. Yojin flinches in shock, which makes the mistress happy. She thought Jihan had merely given Se-rin the other pair of their matching rings, but it is actually the opposite. The cheating couple had designed these pairs of rings together and had even added an extra one just to deceive. Yojin. Our heroine is speechless as she recalls her past. Jihan claimed that he designed the ring just for her and promised that their rings were the only matching pair existing in the whole world. Yojin had been very happy and had thanked him with a huge smile. She had never received such a thoughtful gift, so she rewarded Jihan with a big hug, but she had no idea that behind her back, the man was laughing at her ignorance. Yojin stares at the girl in front of her who is flaunting the ring she got with her fiancé. Our heroine recalls the Se-rin from her past life. The girl was always concerned if she worked late and would even offer to share her food with her. She always praised Yojin and would always cheer her up when she faced difficult situations. Se-rin would run around calling her sister, and the two had even chosen Yojin's wedding dress together. Our heroine is disappointed that the girl she thought was her closest friend would also betray her. She can't believe the sweet angel from her past and the scheming mistress in front of her are the same person. Jae-ha doesn't want his queen to interact with such a vile woman and urges her to leave. Jae-jin doesn't forget to take a shot at the mistress and says Jaehan doesn't even wear his wedding ring. She is relieved that she took it off because people might actually think she is dating Chae Se-rin. The mistress is furious, but Yojin ignores her angry face and leaves with Jae-ha. Behind them, Se-rin yells at the annoying woman. On the way home, Seo Jae-ha glances at the silent Yo-jin and asks if she is all right. A second later, he scolds himself for asking such a stupid question because the girl is clearly upset. Yo-jin is amused and says she is feeling okay. Jae-ha is amazed by Seirin's shameless behavior, but our heroine says the mistress can get even worse. He recalls how Yo-jin was locked up in the underground studio and asks about the investigation. The girl reveals that the cameras were destroyed so they couldn't find the culprit. But that doesn't mean she will give up on her revenge. Yo-jin knows that Jihan is launching a new project tomorrow, a set of apartments designed for wedding couples. Our heroine plans to give the cheating couple a huge surprise. The next day, Yo-jin is scheduled to lead the breaking news and goes live on air. Meanwhile, Seirin is watching her while her group of friends gossip about the photo she posted yesterday. The mistress has been flaunting her love ring on social media, and her friends are all amazed by the one-of-a-kind ring. Seirin pretends to be ignorant as she shows off the ring, claiming her fiancé designed it behind her back. She tries to leave so she can prepare for her news, but the other girls refuse to let her go. The mistress believes they are all jealous of her and proudly thinks to herself that they can never afford such expensive rings. Suddenly, the people around them glance at their phone and begin to give Seirin strange looks. Turns out a news article about the mistress has been released and it is already in the trending searches. Seirin notices their weird looks and storms over, demanding an explanation. The group try to chase her away, but she accuses them of gossiping behind her back. The three share a nervous look before handing Seirin the phone. They also want to know if the rumors are true. The mistress takes a look at the phone and almost dies from shock. Just like she promised, Yo-jin prepares a surprise for the couple and wears her ring during the live broadcast. The media have already found out about her broken engagement with Jihan and even exposed his cheating scandal with Chae Se-rin. The mistress snatches the phone away in anger and trembles in fear. The Hojin group is facing a crisis, and Jihan's nearly launched apartment is at risk because of his scandals. Meanwhile, the culprit is still boldly wearing her ring on live TV while everyone watches. Jae-ha is amused while Se-rin and Jihan are about to die from anger. At least, all three are thinking about our heroine. Chapter 28. Yoon Yo-jin is done with her news broadcast and steps outside. The trending searches are all filled with Se-rin's cheating scandals, causing everyone to gather around the culprit. Her friends are all in shock and can't believe the famous main anchor would also be a mistress. Just then, Yoon Yo-jin appears looking like a boss lady. She questions Chae Se-rin, asking why the girl would betray her trust and cheat with her fiancé. She scolds the girl for also skipping the news broadcast and feels thankful that they already prepared a replacement. Se-rin can hear her colleagues gossiping behind her back and calling her shameless. She had boasted about her man, but it turned out to be her senior's fiancé. They mock her for skipping the news, saying she shouldn't have done something so disgraceful if she didn't want to be exposed. Se-rin is furious as she listens to their insults. She is unwilling to accept defeat and decides to also ruin Yoon Yo-jin. She claims that she and Jihan are innocent, and even cries as she accuses Yo-jin of sleeping around with her fiancé's brother. Everyone is shocked, and even Yo-jin watches Se-rin in disbelief. The mistress keeps acting sad, saying her fiancé is emotionally exhausted because Yo-jin has been sleeping around with his own brother. Her poor Jihan has been suffering and even has to take pills just to sleep. She tries to paint herself as the good girl who stayed by his side during his tough period. Everyone is speechless while Yo-jin smirks at the crying girl. Se-rin must really think that everyone would believe her words. She has to praise the mistress because she has a special talent to make even her lies sound believable. Se-rin's friends are confused and wonder if Yo-jin really cheated first. The mistress becomes even more dramatic as she falls to the floor, yelling about her love for Jihan. She says their baby deserves to be born with blessings and begs everyone not to misunderstand them. Yo-jin stares at the crying girl and when she looks around, notices the touched look on people's faces. Se-rin keeps crying, saying she has to protect her family. Secretly, she calls Yo-jin foolish, because the girl's reputation has already been ruined in the company. She thinks no one would support Yoon Yo-jin and believes she has already won again. But when she calls her lover, Jihan is clearly not on her side. The man questions her stupid behavior while Se-rin stammers as she tries to reply. She feels upset because she really thinks she did nothing wrong. The true culprit should be Yo-jin, who wore her ring on live TV. As always, she tries to push the blame on Yo-jin, claiming that the girl had pushed her too hard. She insists that she was just trying to protect their baby and urges Jihan to use this chance to declare their relationship. Instead, the man says he is going to end things, which frightens his mistress. She can't understand why he was almost begging Yo-jin to marry him, but is being so harsh to the mother of his child. She feels relieved that the article was released because Jihan would now have no choice but to marry her. The girl is already imagining herself as the mistress of the Hojin group. Meanwhile, the news is filled with comments about Se-rin's shameless behavior, and the citizens insist on getting rid of such a shameless newscaster. Back in the anchor room, her colleagues also gossip about her behavior. They mock her for bragging about a stolen fiancé and ring, and feel happy that she will be punished by the committee. The girl has even deleted her social accounts. The colleagues have no idea that Yo-jin is outside listening to them, as they gossip about Se-rin's false claims. Half of them don't believe that Yo-jin was cheating, but some suggest that the girl might also have a messy life. Our heroine listens to these nasty rumors and is too nervous to even step inside. She decides to leave and returns home in defeat. Yojin is thinking about her hard life when she receives a call from Jae-ha. The man announces that he is downstairs and asks Yojin to come down. Our heroine rushes outside and is surprised to see the handsome man waiting for her. Yojin is excited and wants to know if Jae-ha watched the breaking news. Our male lead admits that he watches her news every single day. He doesn't look very happy and even complains as he holds Yoon Yojin's hand, wondering why she wore her ex-fiancé's ring on live TV. Yojin glances at the pouting man in surprise, realizing that the famous CEO Jae-ha is actually jealous. His pouting face is just too cute and Yojin can't hold back her laughter. Jae-ha scolds the girl for laughing and then asks her to hand over Jihan's ring. Yojin explains that she doesn't have it with her, and is curious about his plans for the ring. Of course, our jealous CEO plans to throw it away. If possible, he could even toss it into the galaxy. Yojin notices that her fiancé is really jealous and tries to explain her actions. Jae-ha interrupts her because he knows she wore the ring on purpose to expose the cheating couple and ruin Jihan's new project. Still, that doesn't stop our handsome CEO from being jealous. He even brings out his own ring and slips it onto Yojin's finger. Our heroine stares at the pretty little diamond in shock, while Jae-ha tells her to give him the right to be this jealous. He feels guilty for presenting the ring to Yojin in such a boring manner, but the jealous man just couldn't wait. He is probably afraid that someone will steal his woman away. Jae-ha stresses that this ring represents their marriage and even asks her to throw away all of Seo Jihan's gifts. Yojin is amused and begins to laugh, looking even prettier than the freshest flowers. She calls the ring beautiful and keeps thanking Jae-ha even as he drives away. Our heroine is filled with happiness as she returns to her apartment and keeps glancing at her new ring. That is probably why she doesn't notice the strange man sneaking up behind her. Yojin finally has a strange feeling and turns around to face the strange man, but it is already too late. The girl is knocked out within seconds, and the men drag her over to a black van. They call their mysterious CEO, informing him that their plan has succeeded. Now who is this evil culprit? Yojin wakes up a few minutes later, only to find herself in some abandoned warehouse. She is lying on a mattress, and sitting opposite her is the annoying scumbag Seo Jihan. Of course, it has to be him. Our heroine curses the man, calling him crazy for kidnapping her. Jihan smirks, claiming that he never kidnapped her. He cooks up a ridiculous story about her fainting in the middle of the street, causing his men to find her and bring her over. Yojin isn't deceived by his foolish story and calls it a load of rubbish. The scumbag has the nerve to complain, blaming Yojin for ruining their relationship while he was trying to fix their broken engagement. Our heroine is truly stunned, wondering if this delusional man really thinks they can get back together. Jihan blames her for exposing his flaws and releasing his scandal with Seirin to the news station. He truly thinks he did nothing wrong since they were just in an arranged marriage. He only had a small fling before their wedding, so he shouldn't be facing such public damage. Sigh. Unfortunately, the person who gave Jihan that bright mark on his face failed to slap enough sense into his head. The man sees the way Yojin looks at him, and he can tell that she truly despises him. The thought drives him crazy, and he grasps her chin, calling her a cruel woman. Yojin struggles and finally pushes the scumbag away. She stares at him in disgust, which makes Jihan furious. But before he can make a move, Yojin's phone suddenly rings. Seo Jae-ha is driving home and decides to call his little fiancé, but he soon discovers that her line is unreachable. Yojin is unable to pick Seo Jae-ha's call. Jihan watches her with an evil smile, revealing the new plan he has prepared with Chae Seirin. They plan to accuse Yojin of sleeping around with his brother even before their engagement. Yojin protests, but Jihan doesn't care if the news is true or false. Once he exposes this scandal, everyone would be interested in the newscaster's private life. Yojin would probably be condemned by the whole nation. Jihan uses this chance to threaten her, warning her to remove his cheating article. Yojin bites her lips in anger and vows not to take down the article. Jihan feels frustrated and yells at her, but Yojin doesn't back down. She even mocks him for ruining his first project as the successor and tells him to blame himself. Seo Jihan furiously glares at the girl, and our heroine finally notices the red handprint on his face. She immediately guesses that his father must have beaten him up. Jihan's ego is bruised, and in a bid to get his revenge, he tries to hit Yoon Yojin. Our heroine is frightened and covers her face, telling Jihan that he would regret this. The girl might really be a prophet, because in the next second, Jae-ha shows up and kicks his brother away with a hard punch. Yojin opens her eyes only to see her handsome fiancé slapping the scumbag away. Jae-ha glares at his crazy brother, shocked that the man would resort to kidnapping. Jaehan immediately turns into a meek schoolboy when he sees his elder brother. His bodyguards suddenly rush inside, urging him to leave because the police have arrived. But it is already too late as the cops barge into the room. Jae-ha focuses on his woman, covering her with his jacket and trying to calm her down. He tries to take Yojin away, but the girl suddenly faints in his arms. Our CEO is clearly upset, so Jihan should be ready to dig his grave. Our male lead picks up his little woman and quickly takes her away. Yojin finally wakes up and finds herself alone in a huge bedroom. She takes a walk through the house and finds Seo Jae-ha in the kitchen. The CEO reveals that this is his house and has even prepared a cup of warm tea for his woman. The couple settle down in the living room, but Jae-ha keeps glancing at Yojin. He blames himself for the incident because he always knew Jaehan would come to Yojin's house one day. Our heroine tells him not to blame himself because no one thought Jihan would suddenly go crazy. The girl is obviously still frightened and she even begins to cry. Yoon Yojin is stunned by her sudden tears, but Jaeha immediately holds her hand and kneels before her. The girl is touched by his caring attitude and thanks him with a sincere smile. Yojin returns to the bedroom and Jaeha arrives a few minutes later with some tea to check up on her. Yojin thanks him for taking care of her and announces that she plans to move into a hotel today. Jaeha is stunned, but Yojin doesn't notice his reaction. The girl plans to stay in a hotel for some time before she finds a new house to move into. After making her decision, she would then sell off the old mansion. So Jaeha doesn't look pleased with Yojin's decision and rushes to stop the girl. He tells his fiancée not to bother with moving out because she can just stay here. Yojin is surprised and after glancing at the beautiful bedroom, reminds Jaeha that this is his house. She can't believe the man is suggesting that they live together. Yojin glances at his handsome face and her cheeks immediately turn red from shyness. The terrified bunny grasps the blanket with all her strength and quickly refuses to stay with Jaeha. The CEO decides to tease his little fiancé and suggests that they can cohabit before the wedding. Our heroine nearly faints and urges Jaeha to stop teasing her. The man admits that he was joking, but suddenly looks serious as he says, Yojin can just stay here comfortably. Our male lead plans to spend the night in a hotel. Our male heroine feels bad because she seems to be kicking out the owner of the house. Jaeha insists on leaving because staying at a hotel is too dangerous for Yojin. The girl would feel safer staying in his house because no one would try to attack his apartment. Yojin still tries to protest, but Jaeha reminds her that her safety is more important than anything else. He doesn't forget to tease her, saying that he can only relax if she stays at his house. Jaeha doesn't give her a chance to argue and urges Yojin to get some rest. He even offers her his bedroom and chooses to sleep in the living room. Our male lead tries his best to make Yojin comfortable, but the next day, our heroine arrives at work with a tired face. Her friend points out her huge dark circles and she explains that she couldn't sleep. Well, who would have a nice nap after being kidnapped during the night? Yojin even tries to be a good employee by showing up at work, but her colleague urges her to go to the hospital. He advises Yojin to take a day off, but the girl is afraid of more rumors spreading. After all, everyone is already watching her. The man tells her not to worry about the rumors because everyone is already talking about her wherever she goes. He wonders what Yojin's next move is because the cheating couple are about to release their own article. Our heroine isn't bothered because Jihan had already revealed his vile plans after attacking her. She thinks about the horrible news spreading about the couple and smirks to herself. Yojin is sure that the cheaters won't be able to suppress the negative news. She plans to observe first before dropping the evidence that would destroy the scumbags. Her friend is relieved and shows a fighting sign. He vows to be by her side no matter what happens. Our heroine is feeling happy until she receives a message from her father's lawyer. Hyun-ik sends her a link, claiming something urgent has happened. Yojin opens the link only to see Seo Ji-han holding a live press conference. The scumbag pretends to be pitiful and blames Yojin for being distant during their relationship. He reveals that she was first engaged to his elder brother and after becoming his fiancée, she refused to open up to him. She even broke up with him after a year and claimed she had found another lover. He praises Chae Se-rin, saying she was the only woman who stood by his side during his toughest period. Yojin is disgusted by the scumbag's lies and watches as he bows to the press, apologizing for exposing his personal affairs. The girl glances around and notices everyone watching her with weird looks. The online opinions have changed, and the netizens all insist that she is a bad woman. She can even see Se-rin's smug, evil smile. Our heroine trembles in anger as she reads the comments which urge her to resign. Yojin is shocked by Jihan's lies because the man is trying to paint her as a bad woman in front of all the nation. Just then, her friend rushes inside in a panic, announcing that another article has dropped. The headline is very scandalous and directly accuses Yojin of fooling around with her ex-fiancé behind his brother's back. Yoon Yojin takes one look at the vile article and knows this is Chae Se-rin's evil plan. She barely has time to explain herself when her boss arrives with bad news. He takes Yojin away while everyone watches with judging eyes. The director leads Yojin to his office and reveals that he will be holding a disciplinary committee for her and Se-rin. The crazy mistress had insisted on dragging Yojin along with her, claiming that they had to be fair. The director has a headache just thinking about this mess, so he orders Yojin to stay away from work for a few days. Our heroine leaves the office, but she can still hear everyone gossiping about her. Just as she steps outside, she hears a familiar voice calling her name. The handsome CEO is here to pick up his little wife. Yojin is clearly surprised and wonders why Jaeha came over. Our male lead hears some girls gossiping behind his back, calling him the man from the rumors. They expect him to be ashamed, but instead, Seo Jaeha has a huge smile on his face. He even boldly grabs Yojin's hands. The man asks Yojin if she is hungry, but our confused girl says she isn't. Jaeha keeps insisting that food is important and uses this chance to glare at the gossiping girls. The women are terrified and quickly try to escape. Jaeha says they have to leave, and Yojin wonders where they are heading to. The naughty man boldly replies that they are returning to their home. Yojin is stunned by the man's wild statement and even opens her mouth wide in shock. The poor girl's brain has clearly been fried. Jae-ha is amused by her silly look and keeps laughing even as the girl protests. Yeojin says she hasn't agreed to live with him, but the man reminds her that they will soon be married. She will have no choice then, so she can just stop playing hard to get. Our heroine looks a bit frightened as she secretly scolds the man for being too mischievous. The couple return home for dinner, but while Jae-ha is busy cooking, Yeojin hangs around waiting for food to be served. We all love a spoiled queen. Jae-ha announces the name of the dish, but it's too long and I ain't going to type all that. Soon, the meal is ready and Yeojin practically glows at the sight of the food. She declares that she will eat well and immediately digs in like a starving child. Jae-ha watches his adorable fiancé with a huge smile, but as soon as her bowl is empty, he immediately launches his attack, demanding to know her answer. Yoon Yeojin is shocked by his urgency and suddenly becomes speechless. Jae-ha gives her two choices. They can live here together, or she can stay in his house while he lives in a hotel. Yeojin nervously plays with her hair when Jae-ha reminds her of their agreement. Our male lead can't believe his future bride totally forgot about their discussion. He is so upset he even pouts like an angry kid. Yeojin never expected the tough CEO to make such an adorable face. Jae-ha is still fuming mad, but she can't control her loud laughter. The man looks just like a 5-year-old child, which makes our heroine laugh even harder. Yeojin is finally done laughing at Seo Jae-ha's face and asks if he has seen all the articles. Our male lead reveals that he has already handed them all over to Lawyer Park. He pouts and complains about how upset he was when he read those articles. Meanwhile, Yeojin is just amused by his cute way of speaking. Jae-ha is disgusted because every article is filled with a disgusting story. They either claim that the two met at each other's homes, or visited a secret secluded place so they can avoid people's eyes and have a secret affair. They even claim that their relationship has been going on for a long time. As always, Jae-ha teases his fiancée, asking what she thinks about them having a secret affair. Yeojin is nervous, but the man's next statement leaves her stunned. Jae-ha suggests that if they don't do something bad like the article claims, it will be totally unfair. Our poor girl is completely shocked while Jae-ha urges her to agree to live with him. He says the article is full of lies, so it will only be fair if they make one of them come true. Jae-ha gives his fiancée two options. She can either choose to stay with him, or she can agree to have a secret affair just like the article says. Yeojin is stunned before she finally protests, wondering why the options are like this. The two have a staring contest before Jae-ha sincerely asks her to live with him. Yeojin finally agrees, and the two are both happy. Next, they have to plan how to get back at those scandalous articles. Yeojin is sure the news was published by Seirin because the mistress is the only one who can come up with such filthy stories. She plans to reach out to the ring designer and ask her to confirm Seo Ji-han's order. That way, it will prove that the scheming couple were together even before she broke off the engagement. As for sleeping around with Jae-ha, they can just reveal that the man has been in America all this time and only returned on the day of her grandfather's funeral. Jae-ha says he can prepare the refutation article on that part. He reveals that he filmed an interview on the day he returned to Korea and offers to show it to Yeojin. The girl is surprised, but he urges her to watch it while he walks away. Yeojin listens to the interview, and when the reporters ask Jae-ha if he has a girlfriend, he says he has no plans to start a family. The reporters aren't convinced, so our male lead finally reveals that he has a longtime crush. Unfortunately, it's just an unrequited love. Yeojin almost loses her soul from shock, making Jae-ha wonder why she is so surprised. Our heroine says it is nothing, but she can't stop thinking about the mystery girl who stole Jae-ha's heart. Meanwhile, Chae Seirin is cuddled up in bed and singing a tune. She feels smug because her plan has worked. Jihan told her not to post the news about Yeojin and his brother, but she feels satisfied when she sees everyone cursing Yeojin as the bad woman. Just then, Seirin hears a knock on the door and immediately flies out of bed. The girl seems to have gained 3 extra hands as she quickly changes her clothes and even puts on some makeup before opening the door. Seirin expects to see Seo Ji-han, but instead she sees a fierce-looking man. He says the CEO is downstairs and orders her to follow him. Jihan is waiting for Seirin inside his car, but he refuses to say a word, which makes the girl uneasy. She tries to act cute and asks if he is busy, but he suddenly mentions the disciplinary committee holding at their broadcasting station. He scolds Seirin for releasing that scandal article because it has totally occupied the news. The mistress doesn't feel any remorse and is even a bit upset. Jihan had accepted her idea at first, but changed his mind and told her not to publish it. Since he hadn't given an explanation, she decided to go ahead and release the article. Seirin tries to convince him that she was just doing it to protect their relationship. She even tries to brainwash him into thinking that Seo Jae-ha and Yeojin might have truly been having an affair right from the beginning. She calls Yeojin a malicious woman, but Jihan isn't deceived by her this time. He yells at Seirin, which frightens the girl into moving away. He scolds her for publishing that stupid article because it is very easy for Yeojin to refute those accusations. There is plenty of evidence to prove their innocence. Seirin is already crying, but Jihan says the truth might be uploaded tomorrow and they will have to deal with the aftermath. Just then, Jihan's secretary interrupts their conversation. Jihan is about to get angry until the man announces that his mother has returned to the country. The scumbag immediately becomes meek as the bodyguards reveal that he is heading to the airport to pick her up. Jihan still can't believe his mother has arrived, but he better be ready because the lady is already out of the airport. She seems eager to return to Korea, but now we have to find out if she will be our heroine's friend or foe. A day passes and Yoon Yo-jin is preparing for work. But even as she dresses up, her mind is still filled with thoughts of Jae-ha's mystery girl. Our heroine is eager to find out his crush's identity. She doesn't feel good because she thinks Seo Jae-ha rejected their first engagement just because of his mystery crush. She knows the man only showed her that video so she can find the evidence, but all Yo-jin could focus on was his mystery lover. She even replayed that part several times. The girl thinks about the sweet moments she shared with Jae-ha and wonders if the man was only leading her on. He had told her many sweet words and even vowed to marry her. Yo-jin is busy panicking when she hears a knock on the door. Jae-ha steps inside with his handsome face, announcing that he is leaving for work. He urges Yo-jin to have a good day and promises to drop the rebuttal article before her disciplinary committee begins. He tells her not to worry, which makes our heroine very happy. Yo-jin heads to the KBC company and the panel soon begins. Our heroine looks totally calm while Sirin has a malicious look on her face. The committee announces that the girl's scandal has damaged the company's image, and after an internal meeting, they have decided on their punishments. They are both given separate documents, and Sirin nearly dies from shock when she sees her punishment. The director announces that Yoon Yo-jin will be confined for 1 week and will lose 3 months of her salary. Sirin immediately protests, but the man orders her to shut up. He accuses the girl of spreading baseless rumors and declares that she has been expelled from the company. The mistress is unwilling to accept this outcome and yells at the panel, calling them biased. She insists that the rumors are true, so she shouldn't be the only one expelled. Sirin keeps talking about the nasty article she secretly published, claiming that Yo-jin should be expelled after that expose. She says the director is being biased and even accuses him of receiving bribes from Yoon Yo-jin. The boss sighs in frustration, telling Sirin that she has gone too far. He was trying to maintain her reputation because of their past relationship, but now he can finally expose the girl. Sirin is still confused, so the man explains that a new article was published this morning. The panel advises Sirin to check the news herself as they all leave. Sirin is left alone with Yo-jin, and she finally opens the news. Turns out, Seo Jae-ha has already released his statement. Our male lead also holds a press conference to refute the rumors. He even releases the interview video he filmed immediately he returned from the States. The man explains that the article about his secret relationship with Yo-jin were just rumors, because he has never stepped foot in Korea. Sirin immediately becomes upset, but before she can protest, another video from the design company is played. The ring maker reveals that Jihan had indeed ordered 3 rings. They had made a pair of couple rings, but had added an extra ring for a different woman. She had only agreed to take the order because the couple had paid her a lot of money. Everyone is shocked while Sirin is about to pass out from shame. Jae-ha commands the press to stop spreading fake rumors or else his company will directly sue them all. Yoon Yo-jin is pleased to see Sirin's frightened face and mocks the girl for releasing such useless stories. The mistress is unwilling to accept defeat and tells Yo-jin that she hasn't lost. She proudly says that people might call her a terrible witch, but it is only for a moment. She believes that in a few years' time, after she has her child and joins the Hojin family, Yoon Yo-jin will begin to feel envious. She smirks as she thanks our heroine for moving her wedding forward. Yo-jin watches the delusional girl in disdain because she knows that staying by Jihan's side isn't as simple as she thinks. She even tells Sirin that there are mountains that she can never climb. Just then, our heroine receives a call from Jihan's mother, and the woman insists on having dinner with Yo-jin. Our female lead ends the call and smirks at the mistress. She reminds her that even though she has already broken off their engagement, Seo's mother still insists on having dinner with her. The woman they are talking about is currently staring at a picture of Sirin and her son, and she definitely doesn't look pleased. Yo-jin is having dinner with her former mother-in-law, Madame Oh Jin-hee. The woman says Jihan had mentioned that French cuisine was Yo-jin's favorite, so she had hired a famous French chef. The girl twirls her wine and watches the madam in disdain because she and her son clearly know nothing about her. Yo-jin's taste has already changed after spending time with Seo Jae-ha, and she now likes Korean food. Still, she acts modest and says the woman shouldn't have prepared an expensive meal. Jihan's mother insists on treating her to a lavish dinner, saying she hasn't met the girl for a year. She also reminds Yo-jin that she is still the daughter of a famous noble family. Our heroine feels a bit of regret. She had come here just to annoy Chae Sirin, but now everything just tastes like dirt. The two soon finish their dinner, but Madame Oh keeps sipping her wine. Yo-jin becomes impatient and asks her to reveal her true purpose. She is sure the woman didn't call her son's ex-fiancé over just for a simple meal. Jin-hee finally speaks and asks Yo-jin if she broke off the engagement because of her son's secret mistress. Yoon Yo-jin is confused as the woman asks if she will get back together with Jihan if the mistress is taken away. The madam keeps insisting that the two have a connection and begs Yo-jin to accept her son again. She even vows to remove Chae Sirin from Jihan's life forever. Yo-jin's eyes widen in shock as she wonders what the madam is trying to do. She questions the woman, and Madame Oh says she can even send Sirin abroad so she doesn't pester her son. Yo-jin is speechless because she can understand the madam's true purpose. Chairman Seo has always treated her like his own granddaughter, so if she marries Seo Jae-ha, Jihan's position as the successor will become unstable. The madam must have rushed back to Korea just to stop this marriage. Jinhee says she can even send the mistress's child away and keeps saying she treats Yojin just like her own daughter. Yoon Yojin is filled with disgust because in her last life, Madam Oh had never shown her any kind. She can still recall the last look of disgust the woman had given her before she divorced her son. Yojin trembles in anger because the mother and son had kept her around just as a tool for success. Jinhee says she can't accept a lowly woman like Chae Serin. She doesn't believe the child belongs to Jihan, and even if it does, she plans to get rid of the baby. She urges Yojin to come back to her son, telling her to think of their past together. She even says it isn't a big deal for a man to cheat a little. Our female lead has had enough of the scheming woman and says her offer is already too late. She announces that her marriage partner has already been changed. Madam Oh immediately becomes furious as she realizes that Yojin never intended to listen to her. She asks why the girl bothered to visit, and our heroine boldly says she came to toy with Madam. She reminds Madam Oh that Jae-ha is still her eldest son, so either way she will still be the woman's daughter-in-law. She even praises the woman for raising Jae-ha into such a gentleman. Yojin secretly feels sad for her fiancé because he has terrible parents. He seems to have a lot of enemies, so his life must have been more horrible than hers. Yojin keeps praising Seo Jae-ha, but Madam Oh is unwilling to listen. She claims to be tired and urges the girl to leave immediately. Yojin agrees to go, but gives the woman a piece of advice. She says her son and Sirin fit quite well because they are both terrible scumbags. Oh Jinhee screams at her future daughter-in-law, but Yojin focuses on the man standing in front of her. Jae-ha is here to pick up his fiancé. Yojin is surprised by his sudden visit, until he says he heard about the madam's return. The two totally ignore Madam Oh, causing her to almost die from anger. They really are a perfect match. Jae-ha grabs his wife and pretends to just have noticed his mother. The woman yells at him for stealing his brother's woman, but he replies that Yojin was first his fiancé. He is just taking back what belongs to him. Jae-ha warns her never to call Yojin over again, or he might just take back the successor position. The couple leave with happy smiles, and the angry Jinhee calls them crazy people. She vows to punish the couple for humiliating her son. Our couple are once again having an awkward car ride. Yojin keeps glancing at Jae-ha because she has a lot to ask him, but right now she has no idea where to start. Yojin wonders what her first questions would be and imagines herself asking about Jae-ha's mystery crush. She immediately turns red in embarrassment, feeling ashamed to ask such a question. Yojin is too busy thinking about Jae-ha's love life and only just realizes that this isn't the way home. She finally asks Jae-ha, who teases her for being too slow. Yojin wants to know where they are headed because the sun has already set, yet they still haven't gotten off the highway. Jae-ha says he is taking her to a far place, and Yojin immediately panics. Our heroine didn't bring along any luggage. The CEO says their world has gotten too noisy, and if they tried to return home, the reporters would take 1,000 photos of the couple. Yojin immediately turns away because just thinking about that already makes her tired. She decides to check her phone, but the headlines are filled with news about her broken engagement. Her private inbox is filled with messages from all her friends asking about her new lover. Jae-ha notices his fiancé's frustrated look and promises to take her to a secret place where the two of them can just relax. The couple finally arrive at a huge mansion hidden inside the woods. Yojin is excited because she never knew Jae-ha had a secret villa in a place like this. Her fiancé watches her with a smile and reveals that this is his personal property. The man becomes sad as he says it was given to him by his mother. Yojin notices his sad look and tries to change the topic. She keeps gushing about the villa as they take a tour around the mansion. Jae-ha leads her inside, and our girl is shocked by the beautiful and cozy interior. They decide to light a fire and have a pretend camping experience, but Yojin still can't relax. She keeps glancing at Jae-ha, wondering what her next move should be. Our heroine knows she should be focused on dealing with Madam Oh, but she can't stop thinking about Jae-ha's interview and his secret crush. She just wants to know why he showed her those feelings if he already has someone he likes. Yojin is frustrated but refuses to ask because she is scared of the answer. Our male lead arrives with some wine and she asks when he prepared all this. It almost feels like Jae-ha already knew she would be disciplined before it even happened. The man says he heard about her vacation, so he asked his caretaker to prepare his mansion. Yojin reminds him that this is a punishment and not a vacation, but Jae-ha doesn't care. All that matters is that his fiancé is taking a break from work. The girl glares at Jae-ha, who has a big smile on his face. He seems even more excited than her. The couple enjoy the campfire and watch the stars. Yojin almost thinks she is in another world and can already feel her troubles fading away. She praises Jae-ha's villa, but instead the man scolds her, warning her to be careful of Madam Oh and her son. He says his fiancé has to inform him before meeting them because she can't handle Madam Oh alone. Yojin might be a tough woman, but Madam is a difficult opponent. She might seem like a transparent person, but she is actually a wicked woman who can't be underestimated. Yojin sips her wine, causing Jae-ha to scold her for not listening to him. The girl promises to be careful, but points out that Jae-ha seems to be overprotective. Our male lead isn't ashamed and reminds her of the kidnapping incident. Yojin recalls the recent news she heard and says Jihan has been released from jail without any charges. Seo Jae-ha is sure his brother must have forced the subordinates to take the blame. Our heroine knows she can catch Jihan if she testifies, but she decides to wait. She wants to get some solid evidence that will send Jihan to jail forever. Jaeha agrees, but suddenly changes the topic, claiming that Yeojin wants them to get married immediately. Our heroine is confused because she never said that, until Jaeha reminds her of her conversation with Madam O. He even recalls the way she praised him, causing our poor girl to nearly lose her soul. She never thought Jaeha would hear those words. Yeojin recalls her last words during the discussion and immediately becomes terrified. But it is too late as Jaeha recites the last phrase about her falling in love with him. Yeojin becomes speechless and immediately turns red. She refuses to look at Jaeha, warning him to stop teasing her. Our heroine is ready to go to bed, but the CEO announces that there is only one bedroom. Yeojin immediately loses her cool and begins to yell, but the man seems totally relaxed. The poor girl looks like she is about to faint as she realizes that they will be sleeping together. Yeojin is unable to ask the question, so Jaeha does the honors. He suggests that they sleep together tonight, and Yeojin agrees with a shy look on her face. Unfortunately, the man suddenly stands up and leaves, claiming he was just joking. Jaeha chooses to sleep outside and leaves Yeojin sitting behind with a red face. The next day, Madam O is waiting at a restaurant while thinking of Yeojin's disrespect. Even if the girl is the heiress of the W group, she has no rights to reject her offer. After all, Yeojin is just a useless duck sitting around with no family. Jinhee slams her cup on the table, thinking of the consequences of her actions. Chairman Seo will be furious once he learns about her return. The old man still hasn't forgiven her after all these years, making us wonder what evil deeds she committed. The person she has been waiting for finally arrives, and it turns out to be Jihan. The boy isn't too pleased to see his mother because he had warned her not to visit Yeojin. Jinhee slams the table, saying she had to see the little wretch who broke off the engagement with her only son. Jihan is frustrated because Yeojin has suddenly become unreasonable. She refuses to listen to him even though he has asked her to come back. The madam is worried about her son because she has heard of the backlash he faced due to the broken engagement. Jihan still thinks that his cheating scandal shouldn't have ruined his new business and vows to start another proposal to make up for his losses. Madam O is surprised because Yeojin was never a fierce person. Jihan says the girl has changed, but his mother thinks she has become a completely different person. She also complains about her stepson, revealing that the two have headed to Jaeha's private villa left behind by his birth mother. She mocks the two for acting like a couple and doesn't notice the furious expression on her son's face. Jihan can't believe the two are having a secret vacation, so he ignores his mother and leaves with anger. The scumbag heads to the bathroom in a rage and even breaks the restaurant's mirror. He is still cursing the couple when he suddenly receives a call from Chae-serin. Meanwhile, our favorite couple are busy enjoying their vacation. Seo Jaeha is trying to coax Yeojin into the swimming pool, but the girl refuses and has no intentions of playing with water. She even scolds the man for doing too much. Jaeha smirks, pretending to step out of the water. In the next second, he grabs Yeojin and drags her into the swimming pool. Our heroine glares at the culprit, who shows no remorse. He even says she must feel good now that she is inside. The couple are in a suggestive position as Jaeha grabs her thighs and waist while she holds his neck. Our girl is flustered and quickly releases him, while the naughty man laughs at her shy face. Yeojin glares at Jaeha, secretly calling him mischievous. Meanwhile, back at the city, Seirin is trying to show off her newfound power. She glares at the hotel staff, who insist that their hotel is fully booked for weddings until next year. Chae-serin smirks and asks if the woman knows who she is. Just then, the manager arrives and the two women begin to whisper. Seirin is feeling smug, thinking that the girl must have recognized her identity. Instead, the general manager insists that their hotel is already fully booked for weddings. The mistress immediately begins to yell, bragging about her future fiancé. She is still throwing a tantrum when a man suddenly taps her shoulder and warns her to stop. Seirin recognizes him as Jihan's personal assistant. Secretary Kim drags the girl away while ignoring her protests. The mistress is furious and screams at him, but soon notices everyone staring at her with disdain. She finally becomes afraid as she realizes that Seo Jihan has no plans to marry her. Yeojin is still relaxing by the side of the pool, while Jaeha heads inside to receive a phone call. His secretary apologizes for interrupting his vacation and announces that Seo Jihan's side has shown some movement. Our sly male lead had leaked out news that he plans to participate in Intech's public sale. Just as expected, Jihan's side had responded immediately, and he could tell they were in quite a hurry. His secretary wants to know their next move since Intech is asking for a meeting with him. Jaeha is willing to meet with the tech company because it will put some pressure on Seo Jihan. Hojin is the only company participating in Intech's public sale. Because their group is famous for being a tough acquisition candidate, the other companies are unwilling to participate. Seo Jaeha wants his half-brother to acquire Intech, but he also plans to have some fun by making Jihan suffer a little. He can't let the boy win so easily. He ends the call and reminds Yeojin they have an unfinished discussion. The girl had promised to tell him some secrets about Intech. The couple return to the mansion to share a cup of coffee. Yeojin asks if her fiancé is interested in Intech, but Jaeha says it isn't necessary for him to acquire the company. The girl is relieved because even in her past life, Jaeha hadn't been interested in Intech. She immediately reveals that the tech company is the key to destroying Hojin. She explains that the acquisition might look good at first, but once Hojin acquires the company, they will immediately discover that it is filled with problems. Intech is just an overhyped and failing company. Yojin urges Jae-ha to trust her and the man agrees. Still, he plans to set up a meeting with Intech so he can watch Jihan's reaction. Our heroine takes a sip of her coffee and nearly chokes when Jae-ha suddenly mentions the mistress's name. He says the girl had gone over to his uncle's company and tried to force them to schedule her wedding, even though their booking was already full. Yojin isn't too surprised because Chae Serin has always been a vain person. Jae-ha asks for permission to handle the mistress, and the girl agrees. She is curious about his plan, but the man only smirks. Jae-ha must have come up with something evil. Later at night, Yojin heads over to Jae-ha's study and almost melts when she sees the handsome man wearing his glasses. She can tell the man is working and is surprised, because she thought he took some time off. Jae-ha says the company contacted him because the job was urgent. Yojin doesn't believe him and is sure the man must have pushed back his work just to accompany her. Jae-ha doesn't notice her touched look, telling her to put off the light and go to sleep. Yojin points out that he is still working and he becomes worried that he is disturbing her. The girl explains it isn't his fault because she has trouble sleeping. Ever since her rebirth, Yojin has to rely on sleeping pills to fall asleep. Unfortunately, she had left all her medicine at home. Thankfully, the villa turned out to be comfortable, so our heroine can still sleep for a few hours. But she doesn't want to sleep tonight because it is their last day here. Yojin decides to make conversation and asks Jae-ha about the locked room. She thinks it is just a storage room, but our male lead immediately looks upset. He doesn't think it is a pleasant story, but he has to satisfy his fiancée's curiosity. Jae-ha explains that the villa belonged to his mother and that room was her personal workspace. His mother was a painter, so when she was preparing for her exhibitions, she always stayed there to work on her pieces. Back then, little Jae-ha had always complained about being bored, but he never knew that would become his last memory. He knew his mother had a chronic illness, but never expected her death to come so suddenly. Our male lead reveals that he had sorted out all her belongings, but he could never touch her studio. Yojin finds her husband pitiful and doesn't think she should be living in such a precious place. Jae-ha suddenly becomes serious, saying he brought Yojin over because of that. He gives the girl an ultimatum, telling her to give him an answer about their marriage before she leaves. Jae-ha is tired of the delay and wants to prioritize their wedding once they return. Yojin immediately turns into a shy bunny with a red face. She stammers a reply and quickly runs out of the room. The naughty man says she should have a nice sleep, but our heroine is too flustered for that. Jae-ha is left alone and suddenly receives a mysterious phone call. After listening to their words, he suddenly asks the caller to set up a private meeting with Chae Serin. Yojin has finally returned back to work and complains that a week has passed so quickly. She thanks Jae-ha for driving her to work, and the man urges her to have a good day. Our heroine has a silly look on her face, and we can even see the diamond ring glowing on her finger. Our girl is totally gone. She steps inside the building, ignoring the people whispering behind her back. Yojin heads to the anchor room, and her favorite senior is happy to see her. She says she rested well before she remembers that she was supposed to be punished. The girl gasps and quickly says she spent the time reflecting. The two are enjoying their conversation when they suddenly hear two girls gossiping behind them. They are Chae Serin's friends, and they reveal that the mistress has finally chosen her wedding date. The couple are in a rush, so their wedding will be held next month. Serin has even chosen the dress and reserved a spot at L Hotel. Yojin is surprised to hear this news because this is the worst time to hold a wedding. Jihan has always cared about his reputation, so she is sure the man is unaware of his mistress's plans. Announcer Kim glances at Yojin and suggests that the woman must secretly be envious. Her friend urges her to keep quiet, but the woman says stealing someone's fiancé isn't a big crime. Just then, our heroine approaches the girls and interrupts their conversation. She says she overheard their discussion, which causes the girls to panic. Yojin isn't interested in them and asks to see Chae Serin's message. The next second, she goes looking for Seo Jae-ha, who admits that he gave them permission. Yojin is shocked and questions the man, but Jae-ha pretends to be upset. He tells his fiancé to also focus on their wedding. Jae-ha says the mistress insisted on having her wedding at L Hotel, so he had to approve her request. He already knew Yojin would be curious, so he reveals that the hotel is run by his uncle. Our heroine wonders if Seo Jihan is aware of his wedding, but Jae-ha looks away and says he has no idea. Clearly, he is just setting his brother up. The man says a meeting will be held soon to introduce Serin to the Seo family. He believes the madam will want to test the girl since Yojin has refused to become her daughter-in-law. Jae-ha hopes he has satisfied his fiancé's curiosity and says it is time to focus on their own relationship. Yojin is confused because she has no idea what they will discuss. Jae-ha sighs and says he only arranged the meeting at L Hotel because of them. The man reveals with a proud smile that they will be announcing their wedding date during that meeting. He is sure it would be exciting. Downstairs, Chae Serin arrives at the KBC company to see announcer Kim. The woman is confused by this sudden meeting, but Serin says she only dropped by after her meeting with the planner. She keeps talking about her wedding, which upsets the announcer. She thinks Serin shouldn't be this smug after stealing someone's fiancé. Kim doesn't want to waste time listening to her and says she has to leave. But just then, the mistress yells about her dead battery and says she has to reply to the planner. She borrows the announcer's phone and starts typing with a malicious look on her face. Kim becomes uneasy because the girl seems to be taking too long to send an ordinary message. She snatches her phone away from Seirin and leaves immediately, but she doesn't see the evil smirk on the woman's face. Yeojin returns to her office while trying to figure out what Jae-ha is planning. The man had only informed her that the meeting would be happening during the weekend. Just then, she hears people whispering behind her back and wonders if something is happening again. Well, she is correct, because her friend rushes in and tells her to check their announcers community. Yeojin takes a look, only to see a new article about her and Seo Jae-ha. This time, they claim she went vacationing with a man during her reflection period and abandoned her sick parents. Yeojin visits the director to complain about the post. Her boss is frustrated because the news had already spread before they could try taking it down. He reveals that he has had several complaints already, and he is afraid Yoon Yeojin's position as a news anchor might be ruined. Our heroine is unwilling and demands that the IT department trace the IP address of the post owner. The director agrees to help her find the culprit and asks Yeojin to follow him to the anchor's office. The boss immediately scolds everyone when he arrives. He refuses to take this incident lightly and warns everyone to stop making weird posts on the community server. He even reveals that they are already tracing the IP address of the poster. Announcer Kim begins to tremble when she hears this news, and Yoon Yeojin notices her strange behavior. The woman looks completely terrified, almost as if she has done something evil. Our heroine approaches the girl, asking her to open the company's broadcasting app. Kim is filled with guilt, so she stammers when she tries to reply to Yeojin. Our female lead tells the director to stop his search because she has already found the culprit. Announcer Kim immediately jumps up in fear and tries to defend herself. She says she wasn't the one who made the post and reveals that she had met with Chae Seirin. The girl had borrowed her phone for some time and she had no idea she would make such a malicious post. Her other friends support her claims, saying they also saw Chae Seirin hanging around the company. The anchors are all disgusted and call the mistress a miserable creep. They all think she must have gone crazy. Still, Yeojin isn't going to forgive announcer Kim. She whispers into the girl's ears, reminding her of all the fake rumors she spread about her. She orders the girl to correct her mistakes, or she might just sue her for workplace harassment and spreading false rumors. She advises the announcer to behave herself if she doesn't want to face a lawsuit. The director also scolds everyone, reminding them that they are all adults. Instead of supporting the victim, they keep bullying Yoon Yeojin. The man feels sorry for our poor heroine and pats the girl's shoulders. The weekend finally arrives, and Chae Seirin is having a meeting with Seo Jihan's parents. Madam Oh acts like a nice mother-in-law, urging the girl to have some food. Seirin replies with a cute look but is secretly annoyed. She is upset because Jihan is running the mood with his unhappy face. The mistress thinks she did nothing wrong, even though she set the wedding date without Jihan's knowledge. She glares at her lover but immediately smiles when his mother asks about the wedding venue. She happily reveals that she booked the L Hotel because it matches the Seo's family reputation. She feels smug because the L group contacted her the next day and agreed to her request. They claimed some VIPs would attend, but Seirin completely ignores that part. She believes the hotel has finally recognized her importance. Jihan is disgusted and secretly calls Seirin a foolish woman. The L Hotel can make the top figures wait a year just for bookings, so why would they make an exception for Chae Seirin? Even Jihan knows something is off, but Seirin is busy showing off because of her pregnancy. Madam Oh urges her husband to eat up, and the mistress notices that they seem close. She had thought their relationship would be distant since they lived in different countries. Seirin was suspicious, but now believes the madam stayed in the US because of her sickness. She must have returned because she has fully recovered. Madam Oh is curious about Seirin's job, but the mistress says she quit so she can focus on her husband and her baby. Jihan's mother doesn't need the girl's support and only wants to know when the baby is due. Seirin says her due date is close and insists that they rush the wedding. Jihan protests, saying they will discuss later, but the mistress claims the date has already been chosen. She even invites her mother-in-law for the dress fitting. Just then, a waiter appears to announce that the rest of the guests have arrived. The party is confused because they didn't invite anyone else and are all shocked when Yeojin appears with her fiancé. Madam Oh and her son are both upset to see the annoying couple. Jinhee asks her son if he invited them over, but the boy says he would never do something so stupid. Minguk is the only one who looks calm as he asks the two to explain their presence. Madam Oh says tonight's dinner was supposed to be between them and Chae Seirin. Yeojin pretends to be surprised, saying the mistress must not have known that the reservation had changed. Seirin tries to act tough as she calls for the manager and insists that she booked this hotel herself. Seo Jihan is more focused on Yeojin and even tries to drag the girl outside for a conversation. Our male lead immediately shields his bride and says they can just discuss here. Jihan calls the girl's name, but his brother reminds him to address her properly. After all, she is going to be his wife. The scumbag swears at his brother, but our male lead totally ignores him. Instead, he wants to know if Chae Seirin liked his little gift. Jae-ha reveals that he helped her secure the room at L Hotel, and the mistress is shocked. He even arranged it according to her schedule. Jae-ha wants to know if the cheating couple are happy with his present. After all, he has to support his younger brother's marriage. Oh, Jinhee is unwilling to bear his embarrassment and tries to leave. Jae-ha says it will be better if she disappears because he has also invited the old chairman to their gathering. Minguk is shocked to see his father, while Jinhee trembles in fear. Jae-ha pretends to be surprised, asking if his grandfather didn't know about Jinhee's return. The woman is shocked speechless by Jaeha's nasty plan, but the old chairman is even more stunned. He questions his disobedient son, wondering why they have all gathered for a secret meeting. He is upset when he notices Jinhee because he had warned the woman never to appear in front of him. The old master yells at Jihan for having dinner when he is supposed to be fixing the company's ruined image. He calls the boy worthless as he realizes that his brilliant solution is just to have a wedding. Grandpa Seo is disappointed by this useless family and asks Jaeha to explain why he brought him here. He doesn't believe they came all the way just to see these idiots. Our male lead has a smile on his face as he announces that he has set a wedding date with Yeojin. He plans to hold the ceremony at L Hotel's royal floor at the end of the month. Chae Saren is upset because Yeojin is going to get married before her. Our heroine smirks at the mistress because she has just begun her revenge. Grandpa Seo is surprised by the sudden wedding, but Jaeha says it is just a private ceremony. They plan to announce their marriage to the press later. Jihan yells at Yeojin and calls her crazy, but our heroine doesn't argue. She even says she is crazy for Seo Jaeha. She glances at the terrified scumbags, asking them to come to her wedding and give their blessings. Yeojin is currently feeling disappointed. The couple have just returned, but Jaeha is already leaving for a business trip. The man says he has to travel now, so it won't affect their wedding date. Besides, Jihan is already asking about their meeting with Intech. Our male lead has to travel now, so his brother will panic and rush to take over the bidding. Yeojin glances at his huge luggage, wondering how long he will be gone. Jaeha says it might take 5 days or longer, depending on his schedule. His fiancée is worried that he might be tired, but the man is more upset that he wouldn't attend her dress fitting today. Jaeha looks like a disappointed child because he really wanted to see Yeojin in her wedding dress. The girl is amused by his cute behavior and says she can try the dress alone. In her past life, she had attended all her dress fittings alone, and Chae Saren had only helped her pick a dress. Yeojin promises to send Jaeha pictures, and the man is barely appeased. The girl arrives at the fashion house, and the ladies help her into an extremely gorgeous dress. They are surprised to see her alone, but promise to take care of the beauty. Yeojin isn't bothered because she has already worn a wedding dress in her past life. But when she remembers Jaeha's longing look, she blushes and admits that it won't be bad to have another dress fitting. Just then, our heroine hears someone yelling outside her fitting room. The woman seems to be unhappy that there are other customers, but the manager says someone had already booked the place. The arrogant woman insists on having 2 time slots and even rips open Yeojin's curtain. As expected, it is the nasty mistress, Chae Saren, and she is even wearing the same wedding dress as Yoon Yeojin. The mistress immediately acts pitiful, claiming that our heroine must be following her around. Yeojin doesn't back down and says the girl is the one following her around. Siren yells at the assistants, refusing to wear the same dress as Yeojin. The manager apologizes and explains that they both booked the same time slot. She even offers to reschedule, but Chae Saren refuses. She says her mother-in-law is coming over and Yeojin is shocked. Just then, Madame O arrives and Saren welcomes her with a proud face. The woman isn't pleased to see the girls wearing the same dress and immediately demands to know what is happening. Well, at the end, our heroine ends up taking the dress while Saren sulks in a corner. She mocks Yoon Yeojin, calling the girl pitiful for showing up alone to her dress fitting. Our heroine says the girl is also the same, causing Saren to nearly faint from anger. She insists that her mother-in-law is around and Seo Jihan is busy. Yeojin obviously doesn't believe her but is tired of arguing. Madame O arrives after visiting the bathroom and Saren immediately rushes to show her a dress design. Jinhee waves her away, telling her to wear whatever she wants. She says she came to have lunch with the girl and the mistress immediately shows Yeojin a smug glance. Our heroine ignores the mistress as she rushes off to try on the dress. The room is filled with an awkward silence and Yeojin nearly bows as she prays for the staff to arrive with her bill. Madame O suddenly breaks the silence, asking why Jaeha isn't present. She smirks and says her son would definitely show up if he was the groom. Why isn't he here for his mistress then? Yeojin is frustrated because Jinhee is still upset that she rejected her proposal. She is about to reply when someone suddenly grabs her shoulder. Jaeha appears by her side and warns his stepmother to stop pestering his future wife. Jinhee is shocked by Jaeha's sudden appearance and wonders if the man is some sneaky ghost. Meanwhile, Yeojin stares at Jaeha with loving eyes as the man says he abandoned his business trip. She almost cries because Jaeha turned his car around just to see in her wedding dress. Madame O is filled with anger as she watches this forced PDA. The two even start to talk about the dress pictures, causing the madam to nearly faint. Jaeha is really excited to see her wedding dress and Yeojin promises to surprise him at the wedding. Jinhee turns away in disgust just as Chae Saren arrives in her wedding dress. Our couple take their leave while the jealous women watch them with unhappy faces. Yeojin doesn't forget to give them a smug look before she leaves. The two step outside and our heroine thanks Jaeha for showing up. She really couldn't bear such an awkward day. Jaeha stares at his fiancée, saying they wouldn't see each other for a long time if he travels today. Our innocent girl doesn't understand his meaning and even urges him to leave when he receives a phone call. The man sighs and decides to make his move. He steps closer to Yeojin and pulls her close. Before the girl can react, he quickly kisses her soft lips. Jaeha heads to his car and asks Yeojin to wait for his return. The man drives away, but our girl is still touching her soft lips with a red face. Seirin is having lunch with her mother-in-law. She thanks the woman for coming to the shop and helping her pick a dress, but Jin-hee is convinced she did nothing. The mistress is secretly pleased because she had used her mother-in-law to make Yeojin feel left out. She even thinks the girl dragged Jae-ha back just to prove that she wasn't alone. She decides to stop thinking about the couple, convinced that she will soon become the lady of Hojin Group. Just then, the waiter arrives with their meal and a happy Seirin immediately starts eating. Oh, Jin-hee watches the girl with suspicion because this soup is supposed to be too tasty for pregnant women. She questions the mistress, wondering if she has morning sickness. Seirin says she doesn't and instead seems to have an eating sickness. Her appetite is amazing and she praises her baby for being good. Jin-hee is stunned when the girl calls the child Hojin and Seirin says it is his nickname. She hopes her baby will grow up and run the company just like his father. She feels relieved when Jin-hee smiles, thinking that the woman likes the name. The madam suddenly changes the topic, mentioning her terrible morning sickness when she was pregnant with Seo Ji-han. Seirin freezes in shock as the woman says the taste of this soup had always made her dizzy. She even claims the daughter-in-laws of the Hojin family all had the same terrible morning sickness. Seirin immediately becomes uncomfortable because she is afraid the madam is testing her. The mistress convinces herself that she can't have the same experience as the older woman. Jin-hee admits that Seirin's pregnancy might be different and finally brings up her real purpose. She points out that Chairman Seo Mu-jin isn't an easy person, so even though Seirin is carrying her son's child, if she falls out of the chairman's favor, she will never enter the Hojin family. Seirin is frightened and stares at the madam in shock. She yells about her love for Ji-han, asking his mother not to break them apart. Oh, Jin-hee is amused, since the two are clearly still having an affair. She orders Seirin to stop screaming because she doesn't plan to break the couple apart. Instead, the woman suggests that they stop the wedding. Jin-hee says the breakup article had caused Hojin to lose a very important deal, so having a wedding now will only make the old chairman more furious. She wants them to postpone the wedding and advises Seirin to focus on Ji-han. Once the boy hears that she has made some sacrifices for him, he will definitely be grateful to her. Seirin looks unwilling, but there is nothing she can do. Meanwhile, Yoon Yeojin arrives at work still thinking of her messages with Jae-ha. She hates to admit it, but she is falling in love with the man. The girl reminds herself that her revenge is more important, and promises to get rid of these feelings before Jae-ha returns. But the next second, she remembers that kiss and her whole face turns red. Yeojin yells at herself to focus just as her friends arrive with suspicious pink bubbles floating above them. They ask Yeojin about her wedding, while the girl tries to figure out how they found out. The anchors are all blushing as they urge our heroine to check the news. The silly girl wonders if another scandal has been released, causing her friends to laugh at her. She finally takes a look and the headlines are all announcing Seo Jae-ha's marriage to his longtime crush. Yeojin freezes in shock, causing her friends to laugh at her silly expression. They tease the confused girl, saying her groom must have done an interview. Yoon Yeojin is embarrassed and wonders when this article was published. Her friends tease her about being the chairman's crush, but the girl thinks to herself that it is just a lie. Still, her face turns completely red as her friends continue to ask about the wedding. Yeojin returns home but is disappointed when she realizes that she is all alone. She is unused to the silence and decides to have a drink. The next minute, we see a very drunk Yeojin sitting with a flushed face. Just then, a hand touches her shoulder as someone urges her to go inside and sleep. The drunk Yeojin takes a look, but everywhere is blurry. She tries to focus and is shocked to see Jae-ha standing right in front of her. Yeojin is surprised to see the man who was supposed to be on a trip. She says she must be hallucinating because she missed him too much. Jae-ha plays with his wife's hair and asks her to repeat her confession. The girl admits that she missed him a lot and even gives him a big hug. Our male lead is surprised by his wife's sudden clinginess and has a huge smile on his face as he returns the girl's hug. He also teases her, saying she must not have missed him that much since she ignored his messages. Yeojin tries to defend herself by saying she has been too busy and her phone is in her bag. Jae-ha tells her that isn't an excuse because she could have still replied to his message. Our heroine suddenly looks like a scared child as she admits that she is confused. She has no idea what to do or say to Jae-ha and it makes her scared. The girl still doesn't believe that these feelings are real. Jae-ha smiles and is clearly pleased with her answer. He leans closer, saying Yeojin must be so honest because she is drunk. He finds her hard to resist and keeps staring at her beautiful face. The man pulls his fiancée closer and caresses her lips, asking for permission to take things further. Yoon Yeojin suddenly becomes flirty, telling Jae-ha to show her what he can do. The man is surprised by her boldness but refuses to take things further with a drunk woman. The girl is unhappy and suddenly leans over to kiss Jae-ha. She smiles happily and even calls it a goodnight kiss. She is admiring the man's shocked face when everything suddenly begins to get blurry. The girl is unwilling to fall asleep, but it is already too late. The next day, Yoon Yeojin wakes up in bed with a bad headache. She sees Jae-ha sitting on a chair by her bedside and freezes in shock. The next second, she flies towards the man, calling out his name. Yeojin has completely forgotten everything that happened last night and even says the man must have just arrived. Jae-ha stares at the silly girl before he laughs and agrees that he arrived this morning. He says the girl was already asleep and the living room was a total mess. Yeojin feels guilty because she only wanted to have a simple drink. She is a bit confused because the last thing she remembers was falling asleep on the sofa. Seo Jae-ha steps out to get the girl some water so she can sober up a bit, but Yeojin keeps following after him. She is surprised to see Jae-ha because he was scheduled to return this evening. The man says the situation wasn't so urgent, as he hands Yeojin the glass of water. He tells the girl to wash up quickly, because they have somewhere to visit. Yeojin wonders where they are going, but Jae-ha refuses to give her an answer. Turns out the couple are going to visit Yoon Yeojin's parents. The CEO notices the girl's anxious look as they step into the ward. Her parents are still lying in bed and can only survive using these machines. They have no hopes of ever recovering. Yeojin is heartbroken because even after her rebirth, she couldn't save her parents. Jae-ha suddenly grabs his fiancé's hand as he greets her parents. He apologizes for not introducing himself properly during his previous visits and announces that he is marrying their daughter. Their wedding is even happening next week. Seo Jae-ha stares at the unconscious parents and thanks them for raising Yeojin properly. The man vows never to leave the girl alone again. Our heroine is touched by his words as she begins to cry. Meanwhile, Chae Serin is going through the news when she suddenly sees Yeojin's wedding announcement. The mistress is furious because her rival is marrying before her and holding her wedding at her dream hotel. The jealous Serin refuses to let this happen. In the middle of the night, Serin heads to Jihan's apartment and keeps knocking loudly. She frightens the neighbors into opening the door, but the mistress feels no remorse. She keeps banging the door until Jihan opens up. The man is annoyed to see the girl because he had warned Serin not to come over. The mistress immediately acts like a delicate flower but secretly scolds Jihan for making her act wildly. He invites her inside but questions her presence with a harsh look. Serin says nothing is wrong and she just misses Jihan. She hugs the man but secretly takes a look around. The girl notices his cluttered desk, realizing that the man must really be in a crisis. She offers to make him dinner, but Jihan shoves her away and refuses to eat. He asks Serin to leave if she has nothing important to say. The mistress is furious with his dismissive attitude, but still clings to his side and says she wouldn't come over without a valid reason. Serin mentions their wedding, but Jihan shows no interest. He even says the girl can make the decisions on her own. The mistress suggests that they postpone the wedding, which leaves the man shocked. The girl has always been anxious to marry him, so he questions her sudden change. Serin pretends to be sad as she says it isn't the right time. Because of the scandal, his position in the company is being threatened. She acts like a considerate wife and apologizes for pestering him, saying she was just anxious after getting pregnant and losing her job. Serin hugs Jihan, saying she and her little Hojin are willing to wait. She is ready to have the wedding next year, but wants Jihan to agree to her second request. The mistress is annoyed by the old madam, but has to admit her words were totally correct. Jihan has become more cooperative after she agreed to postpone the wedding. She says she wants to live with the man and even acts pitiful. She reminds Jihan that she is pregnant, so it is dangerous for her to live alone. The man stares at the annoying girl for a second, then says she can do whatever she wants. He leaves, but behind his back, Serin has a sly smile. She might agree to postpone the wedding, but she has to live together with Jihan. She declares that the man is hers, even though she is the only one who wants him. A week passes by and the day of Yoon Yeojin's wedding arrives. The servers are busy decorating the venue while Yeojin is dressing up. The girl can't believe she is getting married again. We can even see a drop of nervous sweat on her face. She recalls her last meeting with Chairman Seo, where she apologizes for breaking off the engagement. The man wasn't too bothered until she reveals that more terrible things might happen in the future. The old man is confused, but she says she can't reveal the secret. She tells him to trust Jae-ha if something happens to Hojin because her fiancé has always valued his grandfather and will never do anything to hurt his company. The old man truly has no idea what these children are planning. Still, when Yeojin hands him her wedding invite, he suggests that he walks the girl down the aisle. Back to the present, the makeup artists are all stunned by the bride's beauty. Yeojin is about to thank them when a certain someone interrupts and says she always looks pretty. Jae-ha stares at his soon-to-be wife, because seeing her as his bride makes her look even more beautiful. The couple share a loving look and force us single birds to witness this PDA. We aren't the only ones suffering because Serin is also unhappy when she sees the decorations. She hoped the wedding would be shabby because it was supposed to be private. But other than the absent media, everyone around is an important figure. The wedding might be rushed, but it is still beautiful. The mistress glances at Jae-ha's picture, noticing that he looks completely different from Seo Jihan. Still, he must have inherited the family's shameless behavior because he only sent her a wedding invite 2 days ago. Just then, our gorgeous bride arrives holding the chairman's hand. The old man walks her down the aisle as they head towards a happy Seo Jae-ha. Jae-ha doesn't wait for his father to hand Yeojin over to him. Our male lead rushes forward and takes his wife's hand with a happy smile. The two share a sweet glance which makes everyone happy except for Chae Serin. The mistress is furious because she always wanted to get married, but Yeojin beat her to it. The sly witch had even stolen the wedding she desired. Serin is also angry at Jihan because he had promised to show up later, but he still hasn't arrived. She glares at the old master, cursing him for always ignoring her presence. She believes she is also part of the Hojin family. Just then, Jae-ha glances at the mistress, causing her to freeze in shock. Serin is frightened by his harsh look and immediately escapes from the venue. She secretly vows to ruin the couple no matter what it takes. The girl heads outside, only to see Jihan watching from afar. She immediately yells at him, wondering why he didn't show up when she has been looking for him. Saren keeps calling his name, but Jihan totally ignores her. His angry gaze is focused on the happy couple who are sharing sweet looks. The mistress finally takes a look and is furious at the man for ignoring her. She keeps calling his name, but Jihan pays her no attention. Instead, he trembles in anger as he watches his eldest brother kiss his ex-girlfriend. Siren is filled with anger, so while the couple greet their guests, she sneaks off to a corner to make a mysterious phone call. The evil mistress seems to be planting something strange in the couple's home. The day finally ends and our main leads fly out for their honeymoon. Yojin is taking a walk on the beach when Jae-ha shows up with some wine. He notices his wife's thoughtful look, but the girl says she was just recalling her past. The two are definitely a couple because Yojin also thought of having a drink. She wonders why the beach is empty until Jae-ha explains it is a private property that belongs to Hojin. The beach will be open to the public in the morning but will be closed for the couple's use for the rest of the day. Yojin is pleased and keeps walking while Jae-ha watches her with a huge smile. He keeps glancing at his pretty wife and finally reaches out to hold her hand like a sneaky thief. Yojin is startled, immediately ordering the man to let her go. Jae-ha glares at his wife and scolds her for pretending to dislike it again. The girl always acts like a two-faced scumbag. Yojin's face turns red because she has been caught and she stammers as she tries to explain. Jae-ha grabs her hand again, asking her to tell him why she is so afraid. He urges her to always share her fears with him because they are now a married couple. Yoon Yojin is touched by his words and stares at him with her big teary eyes. Yojin looks like an abandoned child as she apologizes to her husband. She has no idea why she feels this way, even though she doesn't dislike Jae-ha. She must have experienced too much pain. Seo Jae-ha notices her upset face, so he caresses her cheeks and kisses her forehead. He tells the girl to stop overthinking and asks her to just focus on the present. After all, they are already married and came here to take a break from their busy lives. Jae-ha's kiss unlocks a hidden memory in Yojin's mind, and she finally recalls the night she kissed him while she was drunk. The girl turns into a nervous wreck as she tries to ask Jae-ha about that night, but her words are too misleading, causing the man to be confused. He thinks she is jealous about the interview, until she asks if everything was just a dream. Jae-ha finally realizes that she is talking about the night she kissed him while drunk, a few days ago. He says it wasn't a dream and poor Yojin almost faints. She immediately pushes him away, turning around and trying to hide her red face. Jae-ha is surprised that she remembered, but the girl pretends to only recall a little. The naughty man moves closer and teases her, saying she must have recalled some extremely steamy parts. Yojin's face turns red as the man promises to make her recall everything. The girl is still confused when he suddenly grabs her waist and leans forward to kiss her. The two share a long and passionate kiss until Yojin suddenly starts protesting. She pushes the man away, yelling at him to stop. The girl once again looks terrified, causing Jae-ha to wonder why she is so afraid. He wants to know if she loves him, but our heroine is too scared to reply. He says love is a natural feeling, so Yojin shouldn't be afraid. The girl thinks it might be easy for others, but they aren't a normal couple. Jae-ha asks her to be honest about her feelings and stop thinking about their revenge. Our heroine tries to protest, but the man suddenly admits that he likes her. He says ordinary words aren't enough to express his feelings because his love for her has grown too big. Jae-ha can't hide his feelings for Yojin, and he is sure the girl must have felt it. Ever since the day he met her, his life has already changed. Yoon Yojin is touched by his confession and suddenly attacks the man with a hug. The two collapse to the ground as she finally admits that she also likes him. Our male lead has a huge smile on his face, and the two once again confirm their feelings. A few days later, Jihan receives a report from his men, and his assistant says Intech's final bidding announcement will soon be released. He has also been monitoring our couple and reports that they have returned from their honeymoon and are heading to their house in Seoul. The assistant informs Jihan that his older brother is also preparing to acquire Intech. Seo Jihan smashes the room, cursing his brother for always causing trouble. He can't believe the man is also preparing to acquire Intech. Jihan had only planned to invest in Intech, but because of his brother's threat, he decides to merge with the tech company. The scumbag knows the risk will be greater than a simple investment, but if the merger succeeds, he will also gain a lot of profit. Hojin will become an international company if they manage to acquire Intech. Jihan is pleased with the idea, but there is a huge problem. His company doesn't have enough capital. He had planned to use W Group's assets to fund the investment, but after his failed engagement with Yojin, his plan was ruined. The vice chairman of W Group, Young Min, had advised him to sell off his other companies and real estate and use the rest of his assets as collateral. The man had even suggested a shady place known to give out loans. Jihan recalls this advice and wonders if he has to really sell all his assets. He decides to seek advice and asks manager Kim to arrange a meeting with a man named Jung. The master is known to handle such troublesome situations. Just then, Chae Sirin interrupts the men with her annoying voice, announcing that she has prepared some fruits. Manager Kim leaves while Jihan isn't impressed. He has no interest in the apples and asks Sirin to prepare for his mother's visit tomorrow. The mistress pretends to be happy, but secretly wonders why her lover is upset again. She acts cute and asks the man to accompany her, but Jihan looks tired of her antics. He refuses to follow her, causing Sirin to glare at him in anger. She finally realizes that Seo Jihan has changed. Well, it took you long enough. The next day, Saren accompanies Jin-hee to the department store, but the woman immediately throws a tantrum. She is upset when she finds out the private rooms have all been booked and keeps yelling at the managers even after they apologize. Chae-sirin is amazed by her mother-in-law's personality and thinks to herself that the woman is worse than her. Jin-hee must have a very thick skin because she can even ignore the people staring at her with disdain. The woman keeps bragging about her wealth, and Sirin can't handle the embarrassment any longer. She rushes to the madam's side and suggests that they leave, claiming that the store has terrible service. Jin-hee agrees to visit another shop, and the managers all sigh in relief. A few hours later, the women are having lunch, but Madame O is still complaining about the store. She calls them rude while Seirin listens with an embarrassed look. Jin-hee finally calms down and watches Seirin as she sips her tea. She wants to know if the girl is willing to join their family, and the mistress immediately agrees. She starts talking about her love for Jihan, but Madame O isn't interested in her long speech. She says the girl must give birth to a son before she can join the Hojin family. Meanwhile, Yoon Yo-jin finally wakes up but panics when she sees Jae-ha stepping into the room. The man kisses her forehead as he invites her to join him for breakfast. Our heroine immediately becomes speechless and her whole face turns red. Jae-ha is amused, so he rubs her little head, wondering why she is embarrassed by such a simple kiss. He steps out of the room, leaving the flustered girl alone. Yo-jin is convinced that the man must be unbothered but doesn't know that the mighty CEO is currently singing as he washes the dishes. The couple settle down for breakfast, but Yo-jin keeps staring at Jae-ha. She says she has a question, and the man wonders if they are about to have another interview. The girl asks about his plans for Intech, and our male lead is immediately disappointed. He thought his wife was finally going to ask some personal questions or even suggest that they go on a date. The poor girl is flustered and tries to explain herself, but Jae-ha refuses to beg for her affection. He reveals that he had a meeting with Intech and listened to their conditions. He even managed to get more information about their relationship with Hojin and discovered that Jihan is very desperate about this merger. After his broken engagement, his younger brother became obsessed with the company. Yo-jin knows Jihan can only be ruined if Hojin acquires Intech. No matter what happens, the merger must be successful. Jihan interrupts her thoughts, saying the final bidding announcement will soon be released. Yoon Yo-jin is surprised by the sudden rush until Jae-ha reveals that the final bidder has already been chosen. She wonders if Jae-ha influenced the decision, and the man admits that he planned everything. After all, he also wants to see Hojin collapse. Jae-ha believes his brother will soon bite their bait and can't wait to share a toast with Yo-jin when the time comes. Still, he is unhappy to see her happy face and points out that her eyes light up when she talks about Jae-ha. Yo-jin says it is because their revenge will soon happen, but our petty CEO is still upset. He doesn't want his wife to look happy when talking about another man. Yo-jin is stunned by her husband's jealousy and immediately becomes flustered. She panics when the man approaches her looking for a kiss and quickly covers his greedy lips. She says they were just eating, but Jae-ha isn't bothered. He even says the kiss might feel better with the sweet taste of soybeans. Such a freak. Some days later, Yo-jin heads to Daejin Hospital to visit her friend, Jin-hyun. She feels sorry because she didn't send the girl a proper invitation to her wedding, so she hands her a present. Jin-hyun keeps saying the girl shouldn't have bothered, but quickly grabs the package with a touched face. She is worried about Yo-jin's condition, and our heroine says she hasn't been sleeping well. Jin-hyun suggests that she might be pregnant, and Yo-jin immediately panics. Her friend is amused to see her red face and can't stop laughing. A few minutes later, she finally calms down and asks Yo-jin about her condition. Our heroine reveals that she still has trouble sleeping without her medicine, and even the special treatment that Jin-hyun recommended wasn't effective. The doctor says Yo-jin won't get better if her worries aren't resolved. The girl asks for another prescription, and her friend promises to get her some drugs. She tells Yo-jin to also visit her, sometimes even without an appointment. The guilty Yo-jin agrees and suddenly asks if Jin-hyun knows Seirin's doctor. Her friend is confused at first before she finally remembers the mistress. She says she hasn't heard anything about Chae-seirin. Yo-jin is suspicious because she knows the mistress's personality. Since Hojin is related to Daejin Group, Seirin will surely show off if she visits the hospital just like she did in her past life. Jin-hyun offers to ask around if Yo-jin is really curious, and our heroine thanks her for her help. A few days later, Yoon Yo-jin is at the company when she receives a message from Jin-hyun. The girl says the doctors have no record about Seirin, which our heroine finds strange. She doesn't believe the mistress would visit another hospital. Yo-jin is trying to figure out Seirin's plan and immediately guesses that the girl might be faking her pregnancy. In her previous life, the mistress had only gotten pregnant 5 years later. Yo-jin is terrified by this idea, but is interrupted by her panicking friend. The man announces that their script has been changed because breaking news has just arrived. He hands the script over to Yo-jin and says the results of the public bidding for Intech have been released. Yo-jin glances at the report, discovering that Hojin and W Group are both the final bidders. Even worse, the headlines have turned the bidding case into a fight between two brothers over a married woman. The next day, Jihan is preparing to head to the bidding venue when Chae-seirin stops him. She urges him to have breakfast, but the man is disgusted when he sees the meal. The girl proudly says she made it herself while he asks for the housekeeper. He isn't pleased when Seirin says she sent her away, telling the girl that she had no rights. He says he only likes the mistress's snacks and calls her meals disgusting. Siren refuses to let him go and hugs him, saying she has something to discuss. The man says his secretary is waiting for him and asks the girl to keep it brief. The mistress happily says she went to the district office to get some documents. We think it might be some important documents that might help Jihan win the bid, but when the man takes a glance, it turns out to be a marriage registration form. The girl smiles widely, urging him to register their marriage first. She doesn't notice Jihan's angry face and keeps saying she feels anxious. Jihan can't control his anger and grabs the paper. He rips it to shreds and throws the pieces in Chae-Siren's face. He scolds the mistress for stopping him over this nonsense and says the girl has no brains. Chae-Siren sheds some tears, but her suffering has only begun. Enjoying this so far? Comment Yojin for part 4. Until next time, ciao.